Good evening, everybody. Welcome to America's Third Party. Welcome. Yes, I am David Sponheim, and we are going to be doing the Technology Thursday show today. Thank you for arriving at our show, and we're going to see if we can pull up our. Yeah, everything's good. Okay. Lots of new technology out there. A lot of people are looking for solutions to their problems getting online, accessing the cloud, all these things. Over the years, we've seen a decline in technology like we're using right now, chat and video. Ironically, a lot of this went into the development of gaming, and the chatting on a game show is almost non-existent. You can barely talk. It's like LOL, cool move, blah blah blah, whatever. And it's just amazing that these really fast chats are not fun chats. They are pretty disturbing, and you don't really feel the engagement that we feel here in our show, which we really love. The political engagement that people have talking to each other about any issue under the sun and getting into a conversation, where you're not seeing that now. A lot of this technology is being steering away from that and pushing people into just individual conversations on Facebook with their friends. But this type of a group chat room is being discouraged. And even like blogtv.ca started, they're not even around. I mean, we went and looked for them again. blogtv.ca doesn't exist. Yeah. Here's a site that was going to launch and now can't even be reached. Its site does not exist. So somebody bought the name or something. They were going to launch and they were going to be our backup. Remember that? Okay, we're not in the chat list at iBlog. All right. I'm going to go off iBlog and get back in iBlog. Yeah, we're going to go ahead and go on iBlog right now. Yeah, we're on iBlog now, and we can talk and chat with all the viewers. We've got a few viewers over there. Thank you for coming in. Yeah, I can receive chat on iBlog right now. I'm up and running now. Thank you for that interim. I have to sometimes go off camera to sign into accounts. If you see me doing that, that's what I'm doing. But blogtv.ca doesn't exist, and a lot of sites are going out of business. They're kind of angling into a different model because there's not a lot of money in this industry. A lot of you people don't really have money to get free internet chat going. So because of that, companies that did remain had to do some pretty weird things to get noticed and to keep going. We saw BattleCam go under, and I understand TinyChat bought up BattleCam. That's in the works. But a lot of these companies like StickCam went under because they were doing something weird. But the ones that survived, like YouNow, are pretty suspicious. They've got a lot of young people on there. It doesn't look like they're under 18 actually, and it looks kind of suspicious. So we don't broadcast over there. Periscope has chat that lasts about 5 seconds, then it disappears, so you don't really see the chat for very long. That's kind of interesting because most people want to see their chat and read their chat. So it's not like they're catering to the people that want to talk about things. So let's step into the idea of politics now and change the venue from talking about the ending of free speech on the internet through these networks dying, and now talk about the man who just blows his mouth off all the time. This is just really pathetic. Remember I said that Kim Jong-un would never get rid of his nuclear weapons because he saw what happened to Gaddafi? Well, now Trump is rubbing that in his face. His warning to Kim Jong-un, make a deal or suffer same fate as Gaddafi, he's back to his strong-arm tactics. Instead of listening to the request that Kim Jong-un made, which was to end war games with South Korea, and we could have opened up separate dialogue apart from South Korea, because he was very upset that South Korea would not end war games. We could end war games with South Korea and open up a dialogue separate, but did Trump do that? No. It shows you how recalcitrant and unwilling he is to make any changes whatsoever. And this is not the kind of guy that wants to make a deal. He's a guy who wants to use this as a Hail Mary so that we will no longer talk about the corruption and the greed and the crimes that he's committed. You don't like the word recalcitrant? Wow. So a lot of you don't have a very big vocabulary. Okay, well, let me help you with that. Its meaning is having an obstinately uncooperative attitude toward authority or discipline. Recalcitrant. Yeah, many of you don't use your words. You're not like little Edgar Allan Poe's, are you? Yeah. Well, you can use it any time. I feel free. I did not create this word. It's a word in the actual dictionary. Okay, did Dave freeze? Let's take a look. I'm still on Vaughn. Vaughn rate shows no drops. I mean, I've logged. I'm recording. Okay, really? We've got more words about Donald Trump and his inability to talk. GOP congressman asks if rocks are causing sea levels to rise. These people don't have a clue as to what's happening in the world. They're so out of it, it's not even funny. These are the people that are preventing us from impeaching Trump, by the way. Let's hear this brainless denial of climate change.
You're not answering my question again. I'm conceding for the moment that there has been ice melting compared to what it was 3 million years ago, whatever, since I'm asking another question, that is, what other factors have caused the sea levels to rise relative to dry land? Does anyone else have any? I mean, in particular, Dr. Duffy, you said that they're going to be massive. Isn't that the word that you use in your remarks? Massive sea level rises. Don't you think if you're going to have that kind of statement, you ought to have some idea as to what all the causes of sea level rises have been?
Sure.
Since human beings have been on Earth?
If you're referring to ground subsidence, that is a factor in some regions.
Okay, what else? That's one. So now we've gotten two. What else?
Ground subsidence is not going to cause the levels of sea level rise that arouse my concern.
I'm just asking for factors. I was not asking for your prioritizing of one over the other. But you've mentioned two. What else?
Those are all that I know of.
What about erosion? Every single year that we're on Earth, you have huge tons of silt deposited by the Mississippi River, by the Amazon River, by the Nile, by every major river system, and for that matter, creek.
Yeah, well, the problem is most of the silt and rock formations are kind of like his brains, solidified, concentrated with nothing in it. The density of rocks it's much higher density than ice and obviously water. I think we need to ask ourselves, why are these people still in power when they're standing in the way of logic that tells us that these seawater levels are rising because polar ice caps are melting? But they don't want anyone to admit that, and neither does the person over at the Woods Hole Institute. Everyone knows that this is a dangerous territory to commit to if you believe that the ice caps are melting, even though they are. There are parts of the ice caps that seem to be getting colder, too. There's a lot of variations going on in the polar caps. At this point, all things are considered, but we don't really have a big threat of rising water. We have a big threat of gas emanating from the ocean's floor. If the water is increased, the temperatures, and weather.com just said that the temperatures in the Arctic region is 30% higher than normal. 30 degrees higher than normal right now. That's Fahrenheit. That's unusual, and that could create warm waters in the Arctic region, which could veritably break break the methylene that's on the bottom of the ocean into a gas condition and have it blow out as methane. That's a bigger threat than water's rising, which is highly unlikely that it's going to rise too fast. Yeah, snow caps are nice. We've got some nice snow caps. We've got an artificially created snow cap in Mount Shasta. We just drove by there. They're just dumping chemtrails in there so that the water impacts the area, and they have the most water they've had in a long time in Mount Shasta. It's almost record levels. So Mount Shasta could break while LA dries up, evaporates. Yeah, that's the kind of world we're living in now. Upside down, and the Democrats and Republicans can't seem to talk on any level because they know that if you start talking about climate change, the Republicans freak out. Because Donald Trump, he can't possibly accept the possibility that climate is actually changing. They don't want to acknowledge it, nor do they want to deal with the environmental strife or crisis that's ensuing as a result of their behavior or lack of behavior. The Democrats don't do anything either. They just talk about the problem and try to single out who's complaining about it and then isolate that person. So neither the Democrats or Republicans are really fixing our world's pollution problems. Manafort's son-in-law takes a plea deal, agrees to work with Mueller. This is a big move. Yeah, his son-in-law is taking a plea deal which could implicate Manafort even deeper. If Manafort flips, which is possible, and he realizes his years in jail are not going to be pleasant, this is a guy who probably take witness protection and wear a mustache and call himself Eduardo and work as a chef in some restaurant. He would rather do that than spend the rest of his life in prison. So I'm thinking Manafort will flip on Trump and talk about the real things that were going on, and this could be a big break for us. Getting Donald Trump under the prosecutorial lever of charges of criminality does not mean we're going to indict him, because according to Giuliani, and we haven't confirmed this with Mueller yet, but Mueller has told, according to Giuliani, Mueller has told Trump that he won't be indicted, that any reference to him will be sent to impeachment in the House. And the House doesn't want impeachment. They don't even want to believe that the Russians had anything to do with our election or even rigged it in favor of Trump. But the Senate has now officially agreed with the intelligence reports that the Russians did affect our election and they did rig it in favor of Trump. So the Senate would most likely be the initiation of the impeachment hearings that we'll be seeing. I'm pretty sure criminal charges will be levied, but no indictments will pass. I'm also pretty sure that Donald Trump will be subpoenaed, and if he decides not to testify, that too will be added to the list of charges that will go on to the House of Representatives for impeachment. Now, if the Republicans, like that man who felt that rocks are displacing the water, are the kind of people we're going to be talking about impeaching Trump, these are the people that are going to have to get their head out of their ass because they're in favor of Russia. They're in favor of Russian collusion in our government. And who would have ever thought that the Republicans, of all people, would be the one instrument that Russia would use to control and rig our election process and our political environment? Donald Trump was put in the presidency by the Russians and rigged in order to help the Russians end sanctions. That's my contention, and I believe it's true. And I believe that he cheated in getting there with all the help he got from the Russians. So, if you think the whole story is going away and Donald wants to make it all go away, good luck. Because stories like this are going to keep it going. It's not going anywhere. And this congressman is going to have to deal with the bigger problem facing our country, not rocks falling into the water, impeaching our president. And people like him are going to have to wake up real fast. Because our nation's security is at stake here with Russia meddling in our affairs and controlling our potential outcome in the Middle East. What we're seeing now is almost a daily juggling act that Trump plays while he continually drives new wedges into the public discord about the Russian things, denying that he ever paid Michael Cohen for Stormy Daniels and now admitting he paid Michael Cohen for Stormy Daniels, a direct lie that needs to be addressed. All right. Threats are not going to make it. He's not going to get a Hail Mary from North Korea. You Republicans who've been grasping onto straws thinking that that's going to save him are just absolutely gone mentally. You don't even know what's happening. We had to remove a moron from the show, unfortunately. Yeah. Mitch McConnell's been on the Republican payroll. He's been getting money from Russia, just like a lot of Republicans and Democrats. Well, okay, I'm not trying to insult Republicans, but man, you people are going to have to stop supporting Trump if you're going to get anywhere in this world. You cannot continue to give him a free pass when he doesn't even know what he's doing. You're implementing brain-dead policies which are not going to save this nation. And it's going to turn our country upside down because of your recalcitrant ability in dealing with any situation. Republicans seem to have their head in the sand in general. Democrats seem to be all about taxing and spending and pretending to help. And they're no good either. And they too are dining from the Russian trough of money coming at Uranium One, Podesta, and Clinton made money on that. I heard that states are going to legalize sports gambling. Yeah, I think that's great. Supreme Court decided it's going to go ahead with it. With all the casinos that are going on in our country, you're not a moron, Shelley. You recognize intelligent people, so you'd have to be intelligent to recognize intelligent people. Yeah, so yeah, you don't care if it's all corrupt anymore. It doesn't even matter. Well, it will matter. Because the corruption that you're worried about or not worried about will end up putting you in a very precarious position. Thank you for loving me. It'll put you in a very precarious position. Your future will be all about this, driving down the road and having this to stop at. This will be your FEMA check-in point, where they analyze to see if you've been RFID chipped. And if you haven't been RFID chipped, you'll be going to the FEMA check-in. This is the world that's coming if we don't build a political movement to stop it. So you better start caring about it. This is your future. And if you are chipped, God knows what's in your body. They can stick anything in it and violate you in the worst way. It's worse than rape. Injecting you with some chemical like glyphosate. It turns out most of the vaccines that are on the market have Roundup in them. Why would that be? Why are they using Roundup as a filler in our vaccinations? You tell me. All right. Ricky, don't lose that number. It's the only one you've got. Yeah, water does expand as it freezes. That's right. The ice in the northern hemisphere, in the southern hemisphere, is actually taking up more space. You're right. But it also displaces water at the base when it pushes into the water. There's a displacement value. You have to factor that in. Ozone hole forming, chemical emissions increasing, and mysterious source in East Asia. Remember the ozone that we were so worried about and we got Freon off the market? Remember that? Well, ever since the chemicals have been dumped on our heads with chemtrails on a daily basis, the ozone hole is getting bigger and bigger. Ozone hole forming, chemical emissions increasing, mysterious source in East Asia may be responsible. I don't know. I think a mysterious source is right in our daily air that we breathe. We're getting dumped on continuously. The mysterious source is not that hard to find. It's right there. Every single breath you take, that's your mysterious source. Every breath you take. Okay, let's take a look. Emissions of some ozone-depleting chlorofluorocarbons are shot up in the past 6 years despite decades-old treaty banning them altogether. Atmospheric detective work shows the ozone's bigger around Australia, East Asia. Ozone layer protects the Earth from the sun's harmful UV radiation, spiking skin cancer when the hole is created. CFCs are the cause? No. This is a junk science article. It doesn't have anything of any merit because it doesn't even factor in the endless sprays of chemicals dumping on our heads. The intense amount of radiation toxic chemicals, GMOs, you name it. But the sprays that are spraying on our head is what I'm disturbed about. And every time I look for my video to talk about my sprays, it disappeared. So I have to get my spray video out. I don't have a Mexican housekeeper. I do my own housekeeping. I have an immaculate house, not a bit of dirt in it. I vacuum twice a week. Yeah. I run air filters in my house. It's very clean. I always say that if you don't have the Taj Mahal, you can at least live in a clean environment. And I believe that that's a really good motto to live by. No matter where you live, you've got to understand, if you don't have a dirt floor, you can clean that house. Some people have dirt floors still, believe it or not. Well, we know that China has had a huge amount of pollution. We're not denying that.
And finally today, there was an unusual sight over Beijing's skyline last Thursday. A huge glowing mushroom cloud hung over the city around 7 p.m. local time. No, an atomic bomb did not go off over Beijing, we think, but this ominous cloud formation certainly had people wondering what was going on. State-run Xinhua news agency published these pictures along with a description saying the lightning strikes appear to be ripping the sky open. Many people also posted their own photos and videos of the strange phenomenon. The cloud spanned for several miles and lasted for an hour. Weather experts say the sight is nothing more than a cumulus cloud that is a cloud formation that looks like the head of a cauliflower.
Wow. Okay, thank you. Yeah, that's definitely happening. Yeah, it's unfortunate too. But this is the real source of the ozone depletion problem, and I wish they'd get that factored in. It would really help you. To not factor in the chemical spraying that's going on around me all the time, and to talk about the ozone layer being depleted by some mysterious source in Asia. Maybe it's the mushroom cloud. I don't know. Who cares? They're spraying us like insects. Your video is still loading because it is unfortunately running with bad code. Yeah. The code that Mark has put together is atrocious. It delays the cycle. It has to go through 5 or 6 loads just to produce a video and chat signal. I'm going to be going down and meeting with innovators to try to figure out how I can best use the Google platform to develop a chat video system that works for us. I'm not quite happy with what the Google offered in YouTube, so I'm looking into the actual design itself. And I think that we might be able to tweak the existing YouTube design to make it work for us. That's what my hope is. Because so far HTML chat and HTML videos seem to run as separate servers, but they shouldn't be. You're getting 18 showing up at the top bar. What does that mean to you, 18? Is that like a magic number? Yeah, he has bad code. He never tweaked the code properly, so. But yeah, I'm hoping to learn more about the design of the HTML5 code, especially as it's used for YouTube. And I'm not done with YouTube yet. I'm still trying to get back on our live show. What do you mean by still 18 showing on the top bar? I don't get that. Yeah, you're not really coming in clear. Right, I heard Mark's mommy had to get rid of guest chat. I heard this more than that. I heard that there was a reason why Mark got rid of guest chat, because during the attacks, the doxing attacks, that was done by guest chatters which did not mask their IPs. "18 shows are showing on the bar." Okay. Big deal. Who cares? I don't care if 18 shows are showing on the bar. It's irrelevant to me. Mark's trying to let his site go to pieces. It's falling apart. Scruffy says they got rid of guest chat because there's a blog that is doxing people without randomized IP addresses. Yeah, I know. And the reason why Scruffy's so worried about that is because they paid those people to dox me. And we definitely covered our bases and made sure we know exactly what's going on with those people. So they just tried to cover their butt because they knew that they'd had already done it, and it was their IPs were completely out there. I don't copy their IPs; other people do. The NSA watches the IPs that come in here. Well, you can try the Flash version. Yeah, Rickski's got that. VonLive.tv/third-party/Flash. But the very fact that we're still talking about this shows you how inept this system really is. You have to refresh every 5 minutes. I've got my bit per minute, bit rate, kbytes per second down to 400 just to run the show. That's woefully low, and it's still not registering. Ustream has 350. If you go to Ustream, you can see our show coming in at 350, which is actually a cleaner signal. And I'm not sure if they're using HTML5. I think they're still using Flash over there. But when you go to when you go there, you can see our signal is coming in pretty well at Ustream. We just don't have an elaborate chat room in there. People aren't coming in. We've been broadcasting over there for some time, and very few people bother to be in here. So all I can say is, wow, okay, Ustream, not really a successful alternative chat venue for us. iVlog has been better. Well, the mob, if we put the show on Chatterbait, I would be taking the risk of giving you a show on Chatterbait. I've asked other people to multicast us on Chatterbait and Twitch, but they won't do it. I don't want to do it. I don't want to go on Chatterbait to push our show. That's not my thing, but you can do it if you want. And I've even asked people who have high-speed internet to multicast, but they don't want to do it. So, Ingest server viewer side confirmed due to power outages. Okay. Yeah, if you want to go to the FEMA camp, it's ready. The check-in, they've got availability, so you can move right in. I wasn't planning on chatterbaiting, just like I didn't do battle cam because it was ridiculous. You know, remember the bum fights that he was having on there? Where he'd have bums beat each other up on camera? I couldn't believe that. I don't want chatterbait tokens. Thank you. But isn't this pathetic that it's come down to just choosing between Chatterbait and Vaughn? I mean, come on. Can you not realize that this is purposeful? They're purposely downsizing the internet, preventing free speech. You don't see that? That's what I believe. At this time, the bar has 58 plus shows. 18 shows are in the top bar, proves that people can start their own show, can't start their show, or that the viewers can't see them. Am I on the bar, Dr. Meow? Am I on the bar? Because I didn't know what you're talking about, this bar. Okay, good. Thank you. I wasn't trying to question your intelligence. I was just trying to figure out what you meant by the bar, because I don't view this show. I am in this show. I am the show. I watched a show on my monitor, but it's just what I'm seeing, not what you're getting. But it tells me there's no drop frames. It's just painfully slow because of the HTML5 coding errors. That's my suspicion. There's a couple of other options for us. There's a couple of options. We have Smashcast TV. We might just do a gaming show where I could get on there with a gaming opportunity. And there's Spreaker and a couple other ones that are available. I was thinking of doing a Spreaker podcast with the show, but I don't think it comes with a featured chat. We used to do Blog Talk Radio, which had a chat room in it, but they charge a ridiculous amount of money for it, so we don't do that. Yes, you'll get a nice room at the FEMA camp right next to the incinerator. Yes, it'll be very lovely. It has bunk beds. Yeah, you don't want to go to the FEMA camp, okay? Look, as a broadcaster, I can't spend my bandwidth and my cash strength checking to see how well Mark's horrible Vaughn chat room is working, or his signal is coming in. I can't help you there. Yeah, you can chat on Mixer, which is owned by Microsoft, but you don't want to chat there because it's directly connected to the NSA. I know. Well, they're purposely trying to minimize the amount of rich internet platforms that we have access to. I can open 40 tabs max without straining my computer. I don't have 150 tabs open right now. I have 22 tabs open right now, okay? Believe me, I know the limitations on my computer. We've got some good news. Marijuana is now being used to clean the soil. Well, I should say hemp. Eco News on the front line for Earth liberation. Cannabis cleans up nuclear radiation and toxic chemical waste. So hemp is such a fast-growing product. And I don't mean something with, THC in it per se, but hemp is such a fast-growing product that it sucks the chemicals out of the ground. Would you like me to go to a different ingest server? That's one option. Yeah, let me do that, because I've had to go to different ingest servers every night since the show started. Yeah, this has been a daily thing. That's why I think Mark is purposely sabotaging his website. I don't think he wants to have the site up and running per se, because I think he gets more money to stop us, to censor us, than he would to have the site up and running. Hi, Sophia. Let me see if I can do this. Hold on, please. Yeah, it's having a few problems. I can see that. I'm going to go back to this ingest server and see if it makes a difference. Hold, please. Okay, go ahead and refresh. If you could. That might be better. 280? Yep. Yeah, the ingest server that I'm using they're called ingest servers. Thank you. That I'm using might actually be better able to send the server to a viewer. All right? Try it now. I know what you're talking about, but I do believe that there's a difference. Please refresh. Yeah, I'm not having any drop frames on my end, so it's got to be the ingest server as it operates to you on your end. Okay. We may be hit. We're good? Okay. Sometimes we have slow mode on, and we don't even know why he turns it on. So if you have 15-second delays or more than 15-second delays on your chat, tell me. Okay, we just fixed it. Yeah, thanks, Dr. Meow. The person that doesn't know what he's doing just fixed it. There you go. Why is it that when I watch it in an external video player, it always works and never freezes? Because there's something about the HTML code that Mark deployed that doesn't work like YouTube. That's why. Well, let's be clear. That's a pretty interesting article I got a couple days ago. Somebody's claiming that the hippie movement was created by the CIA and Jim Morrison was an MK Ultra plant. That's a good story. I'm reading it myself. It's pretty weird. This is the story of houses made out of prefabricated houses. We'll get to that another time. Wow, I tried this. Did you check this link out? You can search WikiLeaks. It's a search tool. And you can go on WikiLeaks, and I typed in Benghazi and Clinton in the search tool. And I hit enter, and it popped up all these stories about Benghazi and Clinton that were in the emails, the WikiLeaks. So, I mean, talk about hours of reading, huh? I mean, we're talking 40 to 50 pages into this. It just goes deep. Or allegedly. Anyway, very interesting link if you want to search WikiLeaks for any subjects like Pizzagate. This is how it basically talks about how Hillary denied having any knowledge of Christopher Stevens contacting her looking for more help. Type in David Sponheim, a good idea. Let's try it. I doubt anything will come up. There's an international gag order against me. Sponheim said shooting spree has claimed global intelligence files. That's weird. Huh. That is really weird. There's a morning sweep that was talked about where I was being... Svenig Sponheim. Oh, it's not me. It's Svenig. Yeah, Svenig Sponheim is the guy who ran the Oslo Police Department during the Anders Breivik shooting. Remember that? So Svenig is the acting police chief in Oslo, and he's a distant relative of mine. But yeah, his name popped up on Wiki. I'll be darned. That's interesting, huh? Not my name, it's just my last name. Yeah, it's the guy who's the acting Oslo police chief during the Oslo attack. Anders Breivik did. Hey, interesting. And I guess, yeah. We have reached kind of a stalemate here with a lot of this information, so I'm going to go directly to the news and see where we're at. Yeah, CNN is talking about the harrowing, wild, unpredictable last 24 hours in the world of Donald Trump. Yeah. Blumenthal says Rudy Giuliani's wrong. Trump can be indicted. Let's take a look at that article. Yeah, I really believe that the indictment can go forward. We just have to make sure that that everything points to criminality by Donald Trump.
So you don't accept the standing Justice Department opinion that has been around for decades now that you can't indict a sitting president?
I think that there's a good argument for that view, but I would contest whether it is a sound interpretation of the law. I believe that the president is not above the law. No one is in this country. And just because he's president doesn't mean he can't be indicted. Maybe the trial should be postponed because he has foreign policy to conduct. He has weighty matters of the nation to do. And so the trial would be postponed, assuming that it could be done without undue prejudice.
But if there's a report, a concluding report that Mueller has and Rosenstein signs off on it, they can submit it to the House of Representatives where they can consider impeachment.
That is an alternative course and a different remedy. And it involves the House of Representatives proceeding with impeachment and then a conviction in the United States Senate. It is as much, or maybe even more, a political process as much as a legal one. But the president is not above the law. And an indictment, if that's the course that Robert Mueller chooses to go, I believe would be upheld by the courts. It would go to the United States Supreme Court. It's an issue that has never been resolved in that way. There is a Department of Justice opinion to the contrary. I happen to think that he could be indicted even if the trial's postponed.
So you don't...
All right, so Blumenthal is actually on record saying that he believes the indictment can go forward. I believe that the subpoena is has more potential teeth in it because Donald Trump will be named in the subpoena if he does not testify. And Mueller has said he will subpoena Donald Trump. So If Trump's attorneys say, well, he can't be subpoenaed because he's not directly involved in a criminal act, allegedly, because there's no indictment. There's no indictment, they can't indict, so there's no need for a subpoena. That's not true. As evidence gathering is necessary in each case, Donald Trump's position and what he did know at the time is critical in determining the criminality of any one of the players involved. Yeah, so there's no way that argument would last for more than a few minutes, and a good judge would just say, yeah, Trump, you're going to have to testify. There's lots of actual evidence going on against Trump. I'm not ticked at all. You guys are in a world of the gray zone. You don't believe anything's real. You think it's all fake news. You believe him emphatically, even though he lied about paying Michael Cohen back for the Stormy Daniels payoff, which looks more and more like they used a kind of a fixer to go up and threaten her. Look, this is a bigger issue than you can imagine. I'm going to throw out the word bribery. And I believe that Donald Trump has been accepting bribes for the cabinet positions. Now, somebody of that nature engaged in that type of behavior, like Rod Blagojevich, it will definitely be indicted. They could say that Blagojevich couldn't have been indicted because he was a standing governor of Illinois, but he was indicted and he was prosecuted and found guilty by a jury of his peers. I think the judge made that decision, but either way, Rod Blagojevich is serving 14 years in jail right now. 14 years for just simply saying he'd be willing to sell the seat of U.S. Senator Barack Obama. Yeah. So if Donald Trump, what I think is going on is he's accepting bribes from people in order to give cabinet positions. And I would argue that because he has 6 billionaires as cabinet members and intelligence committee members, he is definitely susceptible to payoff. These people have billions of dollars. What does Donald need? Billions of dollars in order to finance his daily nut. Donald Trump has a $30 million a month, $30 to $60 million a month interest payment to make on the money he borrowed. So his sons have to make $30 to $60 million interest payments to the Deutsche Bank and other companies that they borrowed lots of money from. They don't have cash above and beyond their assets. They're living in the world of debt. And if they have markers with Russian oligarchs that they have to be called in, this guy is already being controlled heavily by Russia. Now, our government apparently doesn't have the mental clarity or acumen to orchestrate an indictment or a subpoena just to get Donald Trump's tax records. They can't even do that. That's when I began to lose faith in Mueller. But Mueller is still working on a case that is going to be migrating and being presented to the Senate and the House. I guess it goes directly to the House, and they'll just say, no, there's no Russian involvement, and there won't be anything from that. But the Senate is now seeing this as exactly what the intelligence agencies saw it as. Our government has been attacked by the Russian government. In the political sense of the word, they have influenced the election, and it was in favor of Donald Trump. That alone makes the Senate the more likely case of impeachment. I'm not going to be casting for the wedding. No, I'm not appeasing the Windsor family at all in this effort. No, I'm so sorry. Yeah, I'm not very happy with the choices that they've made, the Windsor family. I'm very concerned about what's happening. I'm glad that he's found someone that he loves, and that's wonderful. But the Windsor family itself is suspicious to me. I'm not sure that they rightfully are the king, queen of England. I've looked at the history, and I'm not sure if that's the case. Yeah, I wish I could just say flat out that they deserve their nobility, but I've been tracing some very strange things dating all the way back to the 1500s, which makes me wonder if the Windsor family, which by the way is a fake name, but that's not their real name. They created the word Windsor family. And I don't want to go in and watch the Windsor family when they've done all kinds of bad things, like supported Hitler, during Hitler's rise to power. Many people don't know the Windsor family gave Hitler money. They wanted to stop the Bolshevik Revolution from pushing into the Western European nations. I don't blame them for wanting to stop the Bolshevik Revolution from pushing into the Western, but it is something that makes you wonder. This 9/11 Order of the Garter, a consortium out of the Windsor family and other English nobility, and I guess Venetian nobility, and even dark nobility is represented here. These people are suspicious to me. It doesn't look to me like they are completely immune from having influenced various things around the world over the past 50 to 100 years. I'm not real sure that these people are the kind of people I would endorse. Yeah, I'm a little concerned about their position. And we all know the Rothschilds and their long-standing dynasty over money and how they control 160 banks, including the Federal Reserve. I don't know, just doing the wedding just doesn't make sense. No, none of my ancestors from my family that descended from my line were Nazi officers. If anyone stayed back in Germany at the castle and then had children that became Nazis, I don't know about those people. They're not related to me. They're from another offshoot of my family. Yeah, so if you're wondering if you want to get in politics, this is the reason you need to get involved in politics right now. The coming FEMA check-in points. That's why you need to get involved in politics. If you think that this is a daily joke and then we just start wasting our time, that's okay, because you will be going to the FEMA camps or taking the chips. With either one, it's coming. They've got control over anybody they want in front of witnesses. They've got Mark Zuckerberg sitting there with a booster chair under him. Yeah. It's kind of strange the way his back is. Notice how structured his back is? It's like he's wearing a back brace or something. Look at that. Isn't that strange? I mean, I get the whole booster chair thing, but why? What's with the back brace? It's very strange. Yeah, Donald Trump Jr. said, "I don't know if I told my dad about Russian discussions." He pled the fifth 54 times yesterday, or in front of the Senate subcommittee hearing, and Mueller. Wow. So, many of you are of the belief that Donald Trump is fighting the deep state. No, they own him. He does whatever they want. That's why Trump doesn't talk about the chemtrails that are dumping on your head every day. They own him. He's their basic mouthpiece. Whenever they want something, they just say, "Oh, Donald, we need something," and he comes right to their rescue. Average American worker takes less vacation than a medieval peasant. Medieval peasants took more vacation time than average Americans because people worked so dang hard just to meet their minimum payments on their credit card. Oh, good. George Soros talking about helping the Nazis. Okay, I'll look at that in a second, Delvin. Life for the medieval peasant was certainly no picnic. His life was shadowed by fear of famine, disease, bursts of warfare. His diet and personal hygiene left much to be desired. But you may envy him because he had his vacations. Plowing and harvesting were back-breaking toil, but the peasant enjoyed anywhere from 8 weeks to half a year off.
It was actually probably the happiest year of my life.
And then we have Delvin, who sent us a link showing George Soros talking about his time with the Nazis. Let's take a look at this.
It was actually probably the happiest year of my life, that year of German occupation. For me, it was a very positive experience. It's a strange thing, because you see incredible suffering around you, and in fact, you are in considerable danger yourself. But you're 14 years old and you don't believe that it can actually touch you. You have a belief in yourself, your belief in your father. It's a very happy-making, exhilarating experience.
So he felt that being around the Nazis was the happiest time of his life. Thanks, Delvin.
It was actually probably...
That's pretty bizarre. I'm going to have to make a copy of that. Wow. Can you imagine? Well, let's be clear. He's just pure evil, isn't he? Okay, Republican lawmaker rocks tumbling in ocean causing sea level rise. Yeah, we saw that earlier, Scissor Fight. I'll play it again, though. It's hilarious. These Republicans don't even believe in climate change. They think that something is
It was
remiss.
actually probably...
When you ask somebody, is the ocean affected by the melting ice caps? Oh, we can't talk about that. That's just fake news. Is the ocean heating up? Oh, no, we can't talk about that. That's fake news, too. Okay, I grabbed it. Soros, yeah, the devil. People don't realize that George Soros was a young boy, when his uncle was pulling the teeth out of the Jews' mouths that had gold in them. No, I told you we're not doing the royal wedding. Yeah, he watched his uncle pull his the teeth out of all the dead bodies. It was a very, very fun time for him. Okay, we've got some stories to talk about. New information coming out of the Process News. Republican lawmaker says rocks tumbling into the ocean causes sea level rise. Yeah, we heard his testimony in front of us, the guy from the Woods Hole Institute talking, and they're so hesitant to talk about polar ice cap melting now because it puts them in the category, oh, you're climate gate people, oh. So this guy starts talking about how rocks displace water. I think he's got rocks in his head. This is the kind of person that's preventing us from impeaching Trump. This type of Republican lawmaker, Mo Brooks, Republican from Alabama. Yeah, real good old boy. You know what I mean? Yeah. He's not going to vote for any crazy, weird thoughts of climate change and all that creaky stuff. I'm looking at your link right now. Hold on, please. Las Vegas gunman Steve Paddock ranted about FEMA camps. Waco before concert massacre, witnesses say. Okay, what witnesses? According to these redacted reports, somebody said something. First of all, you cannot put AR-15s in these duffel bags. He ranted about conspiracy theories. All right. According to who? They said he was looking at his maid working in his...
the release of these 1,200 pages of witness statements and would give no comment about what they tell them about the mass killer's possible motive. But at least from some of the people cops talked to, it sounds like Stephen Paddock ranted about the federal government and was very much against gun control. One woman told police just 3 days before the massacre she overheard Paddock talking to another man outside a Las Vegas restaurant. She said he was angry about how federal law enforcement handled two high-profile armed standoffs, one in Waco, Texas with a cult, the other at Ruby Ridge, Idaho, involving white supremacists. Another witness told investigators he refused Paddock's offer to pay him $500 for every semi-automatic rifle he converted into a fully automatic weapon. And one man interviewed by police in jail said he talked to Paddock less than a month before the shooting rampage. He said Paddock went into a tirade about FEMA's response to Hurricane Katrina.
All right, now we see what they're doing. They're creating a whole series of stories from people who are unnamed people who allegedly said something, including his maid who allegedly said that he was staring at her while she was cleaning the room and she felt very uncomfortable. Who cares? Still painting him out as some sort of conspiracy theorist with unnamed assessed statements from people who you can't even verify if they even said these things because it's all redacted. What a crock of crap. Yes, Prince Harry and Meghan Markle are going to say, I do. I know. I am not covering the historic event. No, it's too early in the morning. unless it's in our area at 2 in the morning tonight. It's possible. But it starts at 5 a.m. Eastern time, so we go to bed at 2 a.m. when it starts. So I can't stay up to watch the meeting of these two people. Now, did Meghan Markle have a nose jab, or is this rumor of her nose job? Does anybody know if she had a nose job? Yeah, everyone was concerned that her nose was a little too large. Let's take a look. This is before and after pictures of Meghan. Yeah, she had a nose job. No question about it. Yeah, that's a sizable nose job. And boobs and butt lift, really? Wow. Whatever happened to good old-fashioned women, you know? She looks different, no kidding, yeah. Well, this is kind of reminds me of Ivana, or rather Ivanka. You remember Ivanka had a nose job too? She had a lot of things done on her face. Ivanka, would like to talk to you, Ivanka. Could you please come in my Oval Office, please? I joined Carolyn and I. We would love to talk to you. Carolyn Sunshine. Here is her before and after picture. Wow, look at that. You can tell she was Jewish, and now she is Jewish. Isn't that great? Yeah, she's a part of the Likud, the Chabad Leibovitch group that's controlling, they have Russian oligarch friends that also help get the loans, secure loans. So when Ivanka joined and Jared Kushner joined the Chabad Leibovitch group, she became very, very popular because they actually get lots of loans from the Russian oligarchs. I know. Well, she looks great now, okay? I don't know if she's... Meghan Markle is not nobility. Yeah. She's... Well, you're checking into the FEMA check-in. I got to get rid of the FEMA check-in thing here.
Right here. Yes.
FEMA check-in. Sarah's checking in.
I've arrived. FEMA check-in.
You know, Sammy Davis Jr. was a Jew, but he was only allowed in after much negotiations. They don't allow people who are not Jewish in unless they're Ashkenazis and they have lots of money. I don't know. Did I get a free bowl of soup with that hair? What's wrong with my hair? I like Gentiles. I like Jews and I like Gentiles. I'm kind of, open to liking people. Okay, so Senate has confirmed Gina Haspel to lead the CIA despite concerns that she's going to continue torturing people. Nice. So consider the FEMA camps to be much, much more likely to be tortured. You'll be tortured at the FEMA camps as opposed to just, handled by guards. Thanks to this new endorsement. Gina Haspel will be our director of the CIA. And again, she'll be in charge of rendition and torture. All right. Okay, the video shows a teacher allegedly drowning two raccoons. I don't want to go there.
I have heard that teachers getting a lot of heat for that.
Yeah, you don't want to drown animals in front of kids.
No.
It's crazy.
No.
Uber is...
I show living animals. Don't hurt the spider.
Yeah. We've got a drone that Uber is creating for people to be traveling in. Take a look at this. This is going to be new technology that Uber is going to implement. The Uber drone. All right, I'll turn the volume down so we can just look at it. All right.
Do you need me to give you a break?
Yep, I'm going to definitely take a break.
Okay.
Did you know that one out of, yeah, this is a new meme. Let's take a look at this. While you look at the drone, we're going to look at the meme. Did you know that 1 out of 3 Trump supporters are just as stupid as the other 2? Wow. That's good to know. Yeah, this is exciting. They'll take off and land. It'll be kind of like a cool drone.
What are called stacked rotors. So 8 rotors total. And so it's a very safe design because if one of these rotors or motors or any of these components fails, the aircraft is still completely flyable.
Yeah.
It's a completely new type of vehicle that has never actually been built before. It's also very quiet.
I like that. If one rotor fails, the other one works. This is a brilliant idea, really. I mean, to create a large drone to carry people around is really a smart move. It's way more stable than a helicopter. So this is the future, folks. When you get your Uber car, it won't be driven by some crackhead, you know, looking for extra money. It'll be driven by an actual vehicle that self-drives itself. Boing. Thank you very much. Okay, I'm going to take off for now. Sarah's going to give you some time. I'll be back in just a bit. Yeah, I don't think the government should buy any. I think we should keep our officials from traveling outside of the freeways, because if they don't know how bad freeway traffic is, they won't want to fix it.
Rotors are a pretty cool thing. Yeah. I mean, traffic is definitely a big problem. I think that waste is a big problem. How can we reduce waste? One, we can reduce what we use in the first place. You could program the vehicles to take politicians out over the ocean and drop them. A 2-seater is already being tested in China. Interesting. At least then if it's 2-seater, it's like if it crashes, I mean, it's tragic, but it's only 2 people at the most. Hi, Rex. Oh, Delvin says you can't get away with any crime now with all the infrared cameras, etc. All the different cameras people wear. Yeah. You think impatience and cramming too many people into a city is a huge problem? Well, since I'm an educator, I'll ask you, what do you think are the problems in education that need to be solved? Or in the education system as a whole, or, yeah. See, with the high-speed chases, they'll never get away, especially if they're controlled remotely. I'm curious what you guys will have to say about that. What do you think is a major problem in education? Ooh, teaching kids too much useless stuff that they probably will never use. That's a good big problem. Yes. Reptoid says schools shouldn't be the same as a prison. Not teaching kids to think for themselves. Too many kids don't think for themselves. They don't have critical thinking skills. I'm a little close to my neighbor. Or you mean like, do I like my neighbor, or am I physically live near my neighbor? Because the first question, I haven't met them, so I don't know if I like them. And the second question is, yeah, we are physically, I mean, near, our houses are kind of near each other, yes. Oh, teachers following protocol is a problem, okay. Being rewarded for repeating what you are told. Ooh, am I being rewarded for repeating what you have typed? Teaching people to conform is a problem. So really critical thinking skills. Teaching students to solve problems. I mean, solve, not just like solve math problems or answer this question, but like really solve the global challenges of tomorrow. Ooh, I'm going to write that down just a sec. I love that. Oops. I can't use this. This pen doesn't work. How to grow food. They need to learn practical skills like saving money, balancing a checkbook, making a budget, how to buy a home. Oh, wait. Teaching how to solve global problems. Yin, you were growing food until the storm destroyed your garden tonight. Oh, letting someone who you don't even know raise your kid for you. Teaching critical thinking skills. Storm destroyed your garden tonight? Tonight? Could you go out and gather the food or somehow protect it? You know, I met with the parent at parent-teacher conferences. I taught the kid for actually 2 years, and the parent said that, you see my child more than I do, because the parent worked at night, so that was really true. What hailed for half an hour, man. Yeah. Okay. Oh, and you said that oftentimes I want to say that we're out of touch with our environments. Kids need to learn to just do without being constantly stimulated. Oh, gotta go. Bye 971. Be safe. Be safe. Kids should be able to get outside. Yeah. Sometimes, I don't know, I've had a lot of parents show up to parent-teacher conferences, but the thing is, when parents don't show up to my parent-teacher conferences, I call them, and I'm like, so can we have a phone conference? Or can we meet another time? So I think I make positive impacts early, positive relationships. I don't always do that though with my newest students. I really should. Oh, so true, great God. One of the worst things to do to a person is lie to the person. Right? I mean, sometimes people withhold information. David and I have had this discussion whether withholding information is lying. I don't think it is. David thinks it probably is. Like, you can't divulge confidential information. So, not divulging that confidential information is not lying. Or, you know, it's also like this. If somebody asks, do I look fat? You're an awesome person. You're always beautiful. You know, it's like, I don't know. Maybe if someone asked me directly, I'd be like, yes. But if it's that's true. I agree. We should trust kids. Trust kids. Ooh, I'm gonna add that. You're honest if, yeah. Well, here's the difference. If somebody asks you, do I look fat? Then I think you should tell them the truth. But if they don't ask and you're thinking, my goodness, that outfit is hideous, it's not your responsibility to go up and tell them, your outfit is hideous. I'm just being nice. I'm totally being honest. I'm wearing blue 3 days in a row now. White tomorrow, maybe. Yeah. Yeah, if you're being nice, it's obvious you're telling them the truth in a nice way. Like, hey, I just want you to know your zipper's down. Can you zip up? You know. Oh, did you know that's not the best outfit for you? How North Korean hackers became the world's fastest bank robbers. Ooh, interesting, Anita CD. Do you think that the trash that schools generate is an issue? Not like trash, like, oh, you're filling your kid's mind with garbage, but I mean like the physical landfills of all the trash that's created in schools. The papers are just one of them. I said it as you hit enter, all the papers.
President Trump is dealing with a series of...
All right. Don't worry about how to fix it. I just want this problem that you think is a problem. I know about that maybe a problem is that we don't trust kids enough to solve the problems of the future, and that we need to teach kids how to solve global problems, teach kids the critical thinking skills that they need. Okay. I'm looking at the chat as much. Oh, sorry. You hit enter as you were saying a nice way to answer the flat question. Sorry. Was the dare to keep kids off drugs or whatever? I don't drug something education. I don't even know what dare was standing for, but yeah. Okay, I do have that Anita CD. Ooh, kids are born, I love that. Kids are born with a perfect, fully developed brain. Not totally true. I mean, their brains are still growing. But by the time they're in school, their brains have developed a huge amount. I mean, all that language acquisition that occurs. Their body isn't mature to react to what their brain wants. So why treat them as if they have a small brain? Critical thinking versus repeating what you are told to pass a test. You know what though? Some of the tests questions, they do kind of require some critical thinking. Thanks, Busy. I mean, they're getting better. The tests are getting better at that. And I don't really like tests. You know, that's actually in Washington State. They have, they moved to full day kindergarten a couple of years ago, like 3 years ago. Maybe this is the 4th year. 3 years ago. And one of the things that the kindergarten classes are required to have is what they call productive playtime. So the kids are actually encouraged to play and have their imaginations come to life, and they really are encouraged to play, but they're learning how to interact with others, take turns, share, things like that. Which is really, it's kind of nice to have that productive playtime. Yeah, that's true, Brian. Yeah. What's really sad is the ACEs, the adverse childhood experiences. Oh, I think yeah, thanks, Anita. I think we accept each other, and we accept that we're not necessarily like each other completely. Yeah, true, misanthropy. I know. Somebody said, I think when David was first starting the political party, somebody told him, there are people that are a lot smarter than you or I working on these problems. And David's like, no, there isn't. I'm just as intelligent as anyone else. If not for David, he would say, I'm more intelligent than everyone else. And I would say, I feel like I'm just as intelligent, at least, as other people. And yeah, I mean, yeah. You know, one of the things to do, Anita, is to make a list of what you appreciate about your husband. I mean, obviously, you fell in love with him at some point for a reason, right? I mean, and so what were the reasons that what are the reasons that you fell in love with him? What did he do that you loved? Because what happens in a relationship, so there's this really cool study, it's by John Gottman, and he said that he can predict divorce rate with like amazing accuracy based on watching people in I think he said 5 to 15 minute conversation. And what he does, he just keeps a tally mark. Positive, negative is what you said. Positive, negative, maybe neutral. But if you have 5 positive comments to 1 negative comment, then you're going to sail through and get very well. But then if it's the opposite, you know, you can have problems. And the thing about relationships is, like, as you grow over time and there's something the person doesn't like, you may tend to just keep that little thing tucked away, and then you pull it out and, like, as venom, like, I didn't like when you did this 3 years ago or whatever. But you know, if you daily say, hey, I do appreciate that you're mechanical inclined. I really appreciate that, you know, I might not tell you, but I do appreciate that you know things that I don't know. And I really appreciate that you put the lid down. I mean, the little things. Yes, and I'll say another really great thing that David and I try to do is that we try to give each other a back rub. Yes, I do sometimes feel like kids need coping skills with what's happening today. Tsunami Rose put. 493 said they're not robots to be programmed. As much as you would love to teach your kids, you would prefer to encourage them to choose on their own. Meanwhile, working with them so they can understand what's going on. Yeah. That's true. Yes, sometimes I would say that too. Greek god said you don't lie to kids, but at the same time, you want to protect kids. In other words, you don't want them to watch violent movies and be exposed to a lot of vulgar material, bad words, and things like that. David has never given a homeless person a back rub. No, not as far as I know. Well, it's not just that. I mean, that doesn't always go to the next thing, the next level, but it's touch. There's something about human touch that's very good. So you should tell your husband all the things that you like, Anita. He drives you around. He does housework. There's 4 positive things. He doesn't understand that and over-the-top religion. He doesn't understand. That's good. Then it seems like you should get along. Tsunami Rose wrote, non-sexual intimacy is extremely important in a religion. Oh, because I think he doesn't want to deal with your medical issues because he's probably afraid to lose you.
Yeah. Anita's having some issues, yeah.
Thanks, Tsunami. I almost got it, but you're faster than I am. Why, Brian? Are you stressed out? Are you going through something similar? Here,
This could be like Delilah, you know, you could actually be like Delilah and please talk about stories. And,
except I don't play music.
yeah, but without the music. You see the new fish food?
Oh.
Check this out. They're just little tablets that they float.
Oh.
That's all I have to do is put some on the
And they actually float like that?
They float, yeah.
They're
And,
like
then
little
and the fish
pellets.
eat them as they dissolve. I think that's enough for the whole pond. And this way I can deliver these, you know, in a feeder. The other way that I was using the flakes, you get all mushy in the feeder. It just completely, the moisture
oh, right.
makes
yeah,
them all
that's
mushy.
True.
So I'm hoping this will work.
I don't know, maybe 493, I'm not sure.
Hopefully. There's a lot of pond food
We
there.
do have koi, I would say. I mean, when we bought them, we just bought little whatever fish, but they've grown, and I don't know if they're technically koi. They started as goldfish, so maybe they're just giant goldfish. Oh, yes, I got you, Anita. Yeah, I think she has talked about it before. I used to listen to Delilah, but I haven't lately. It's been really great that the group I taught this year is the youngest group I've taught. And yet, I think that they understand fractions better than some of the more advanced groups. Maybe I became a better teacher, so that could be the case. I love that. Good parents need two things above all: wisdom and empathy. Yes. Mad Dog. Yes. Thank you. You know, David always laughs at me. He thinks I'm like that Agenda 21 person. I've lived a good life. But, you know, when young people have their whole life ahead of them, yeah, absolutely. Oh, emotional intelligence. So important. I actually kind of teach a little bit of that. Yeah, I think you're right, 493. Amazing. All right. You woke up because your hand was swollen from it falling out of the bed like a dangling arm. Oh. Or they just, yeah, they need help, Mad Dog, maybe? Hi, Lou. How are you? I have heard that, Mad Dog, about the Vedas I've read the first 5 books of the Bible. I haven't read all the Vedas, maybe some of them. The Book of Mormon, I've never read that. Tsunami Rose, you've read the Bible many times. Did you read it like cover to cover? Or just you've read so many verses in it you feel like you've read it? Yes? Wow. My hats are off to you. I couldn't, after Numbers, Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, after Deuteronomy, well, I was like, Numbers, like, ah. And then Deuteronomy. I think it's easier to listen to audiobooks in general. Okay. Misanthropy, what books have influenced, actually everybody, what books have inspired you and kind of influenced you where it maybe influenced you to be the person you are today? Of Mice and Men, that was a good book. Oh, you listen to the audiobook while you read. That's really good. Thomas, oh, that's it. I think I've been looking for that book, Reptoid. I've been looking for the name of that book. I need to reread that. I think I read it when I was like 18, and then isn't that the one that had like a huge impact on the American Revolution? George Orwell, Down and Out in France. Yes, we're always reading on here. Interactive reading is much more interesting. Although it's not grammatically correct. Okay, then let me rephrase. What books say the same thing as you already believe? Mine would be, for that one, it would be Simon Sinek, Start With Why. But that was more of a TED Talk than a book, but he turned it into a book, so okay, I got that one. Yeah, I think it was Thomas Paine, Age of Reason. I think I read it when I was like 18, and I was like, oh, this is a great book. Yeah, and I haven't read it in a long time. I want to go back and find that one and reread it. There's a couple other books that really influenced me. Life 101, everything we thought Life 101 is everything we should have learned about life in school but didn't. You can also, instead of reading them, do the audiobooks. That's what I like to do, for sure. And then the other one is by the same author, is Do It, Let's Get Off Our Butts. BUTS, meaning our... I would pursue this, but I really want to do that. But all the excuses that we give for not pursuing our dreams. And it was something like how to stop giving excuses and start living our dreams, something like that. Yeah, so that's why you should listen. How's your words? I mean, how's your ears hearing? I have heard good things about the Bhagavad Gita. Oh, Nietzsche. You considered him a weak man that gave up. Who was it that told me to read? Oh, I totally did not like that. Somebody said read Plato's Republic. No, it wasn't Plato's Republic. It was, I don't know, but it was so bad. I hated it. I haven't really hated that many books, but I definitely hated Canterbury Tales. Yeah. LibriVox is awesome. LibriVox.org. It's free audiobooks. And also, if you get if you have a library card, and they have Overdrive with some libraries where you can download audiobooks that way. I like Rex's philosophy about reading to challenge or expand your knowledge, not to confirm what you already know. I like being challenged. I like thinking of a different perspective, even if I don't agree with people. Well, maybe that's the thing. I was like, I hate the book because I disagree with the person. Ayn Rand, I did read her, what was it? One she's really known for. I read that and I really did like that. David didn't really want me to read it. I listened to it. David's like, Ayn Rand. And I was like, but David, it's like, it was really good. I think I think it influences everybody. Atlas Shrugged, yes, by Ayn Rand. I liked Atlas Shrugged a lot. Oh yes, George Orwell's Animal Farm. So Animal Farm, between 8th grade and 9th grade, I was going into advanced English for 9th grade because I was in the gifted program. And so they said, you have homework for the summer. You need to read these 3 books. Actually, you have to read George Orwell's Animal Farm. And then you also have to read 2 other books. But it was here's the other books that you can read. And anyway, I wonder if I was the only one that read them. Because on my teacher was asking me about Animal Farm, and I was like, I said how I was talking about how Animal Farm was an allegory for the Soviets, or the Cold War, basically. And tyranny and things like that. Yeah, that was pretty good. For everybody else, I think everybody else in the class had no clue what I was talking about, except for my teacher, of course. Oh, Cold War. Sometimes it seems like there's some code wars happening, like North Korea and things like that. Hacking into it, places. Oh. Huh. My eyebrows, I don't have a good poker face. true, 493, you can disagree until you get banned for it. Oh, you've been to the fjords? You've spied on the Soviets? Oh, gotcha, Sammy's dad. Thank you for rephrasing. I love the whole doing it with code. Or with, yeah, whatever. They said you need to read Anne of Green Gables. I read Anne of Green Gables, one of my favorite books too. I know, 493. I like disagreement. Things you aren't supposed to read are the best reads, Reptoid says. Maybe instead of what does he know besides for what he actually does, like that whole learning by doing. If you don't know how to do something, do it anyway and learn by doing it. And you could read, you know, that's true. You could read how to be more environmentally friendly and how to be environmentally conscious. But actually doing it, actually making a difference, pretty big. What is WSH? Oh. Oh, Washington Capitals. NHL. Alright, thank you, Sammy's dad. Thank you. I haven't eaten a chicken taco yet. I guess so. Guess I like chicken. Yeah, I like chicken tacos. Do you all like chicken tacos? Hello, Joe's Diner. I eat meat, that's true. Sometimes I crave more meat than other times. By the sounds David made while eating a chicken taco, they should be great. Do you have joy in your life, Mad Dog? I hope so. Good point, Chicken. Alright. Yeah, I wish eating meat wasn't bad for your health too. I guess if you find meat that doesn't have a whole lot of fat in it, it's better for your health. I think I like the flat iron steaks. They don't seem to be as fatty as like the prime rib is really fatty, but the flat irons they're still they're tender, but they're not as fatty. It's a brutal chat, Joe's Diner. I guess it is. Tsunami Rose had bad storms last night. Yesterday, they didn't have the internet all night last night.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, some people need to get extra rest, and I think somebody needs a little sleep. So I'm going to give you a whole night off if you want.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate that.
You got it. Sarah gave me a big break, and I got a big cup of coffee, and I'm all set for the rest of the show. Thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
There's some dinner on the table. A little chicken taco I made for you. And some cauliflower. Got to have some cauliflower. It's good for you. Cruciferous vegetables are great. They form a cross at the base of their root. Just like broccoli and Brussels sprouts are all cruciferous, as in cross. They did discover a cross at the Vatican, so I have to retract what I said that there was no cross at the Vatican. There are many crosses, and they sell them all around the Vatican. And I'd like to retract a statement I had made prior about Pope Francis not believing in hell. It turns out that was a rumor concocted by a 93-year-old journalist who's been reporting on the Vatican for the past 80 years. So, yeah, the only discussion that we did talk about was the Vatican's shape, and how it looks like a snake. The new building, yeah, it looks like the venom, the little viper of a snake right there, and it definitely has that look. That's the thing that we didn't see a cross in the middle of the Vatican there. There's no cross in that chamber there. So in that chamber, which looks like a snake, there's no, yeah. And it's not just the inside that looks like a snake. The outside, it looks just like a snake too. So there you have it. That much is true. All right, but there is a cross at various places, selectively placed in the Vatican. All right, I'm glad I at least apologized to Pope Francis for telling people that he didn't believe in hell. That was just not true. Yeah, and I'm not afraid to apologize. Always realize that, even if it is to the Pope. Pretty big moment in my life to apologize to the Pope. Don't ask for that. All things, I still raise money for charities, even though they're financially kind of poor. You and a lot of other people, Anita, you'd be surprised. Most of the money to charities come from poor people, not rich people, because they really don't care. They have that cremation of care thing at the Bohemian Grove where they burn an owl or something. They don't care about the poor people. Otherwise, the whole world would be made up so that we could all have opportunity to succeed in a nice, affordable place to live. But that's not the case. The people who are in charge, they know that they basically are pulling the wool over your eyes, and they keep doing it. They don't want you to know that they hold so much and you still hold so little. The Bezos-Buffett-Dimon joint venture to save healthcare is struggling to find a CEO. This is up there with the plan that somebody created up with a GoFundMe page to save Toys R Us. Somebody wanted like $1 trillion to save them or something, or $1 billion. I'm not sure what. Do I really care? They actually want to save healthcare. Almost 4 months ago, Amazon's Berkshire Hathaway, JP Morgan Chase announced a bold new partnership aimed at bringing down the cost of healthcare. But ABC, as the group is known, has encountered a surprising challenge filling the CEO post. I would love to fill that post. If you guys are listening, give me a call. Yeah, that sounds like a great venture. Because this is right up our alley with cutting the cost of healthcare with mobile medical units. Oh man, that'd be a perfect place for me. That'd be great, just the next year and a half working as their CEO. They're putting an ABC Healthcare together, Bezos, Hathaway, Berkshire Hathaway, and Jamie Dimon. of J.P. Morgan. I just think it's a noble effort, and I think I certainly wouldn't mind dealing with their constraints. I think we could find all kinds of ways of saving money in healthcare. We came up with the mobile medical unit idea, which gives people immediate care. I have to get my flags up. And we've talked about the mobile medical unit many times. It's just a big part of our plan to save the nation. It's not like the FEMA camp plan. That's not our plan. Yeah, we are here now, right there. Originally, I talked to a man over at Loma Linda University, and he developed this with Mercedes-Benz help. And this is an off-road motor vehicle that provides telemedicine for Loma Linda University. A lot of mobile medical units like this have their own corporate backing, but we want something just streamlined and ready to go for the American people who need health care. So I put together the idea of the Rapid Response Unit, MMU. And these are my ideas, they're not Trump's. That's why he never implemented them. So you'll be able to get basic health care at these locations with high technology. Because tonight's Technology Thursday, I thought I'd tell you some of the good things you'll be getting at this event. You pay a $30 copay, but you get an instant blood test provided by a computer readout. Using artificial intelligence in the cloud, we'll be able to pull up information based on your blood type. We will not check your DNA. We will not hold the sample. It'll be burned after its use, along with the sanitization of the unit itself. It will not store your medical data. You will not have your records kept. You will simply get a printout showing you a diet plan and what you could potentially have down the road if you keep it up. Real simple to read and real basic preventative health care. The diet plan will also include possibilities of healthy eating ideas. And that includes you'll be able to sit in front of the mobile medical unit in a tent-like environment that could be constructed right outside the unit with poles. It doesn't take a lot to put some poles up and position them in a certain way and have a cross beam put in across the side there. I mean, you've seen circuses, right? Well, this could have a complete top on it, and then you could have chairs in the front, seating areas going all the way down, and rows of these things. And then on the side of the unit, you could have a TV set, about a 70-inch TV set with interesting stuff to watch. I mean, even cooking shows would be fun to watch for people that are sick, and healthy tips for living and what you can do to get STD tests and STI tests and STDs and STIs. Some of you will have a kiosk around the outside of the unit that you'll be able to pull. Any type of unit will have a prophylactic and STI, STD system so that you could actually take the sample yourself and mail it in. Now in the back of the unit here will be the pharmacy, comprised of a brand new state-of-the-art Pillomatic system which will be dispensing generic medicine. And the cost will be very affordable, like $5 for any type of a medicine. There won't be any painkiller medicine other than aspirin with maybe codeine or something, aspirin with Vicodin or something merged together. But Vicodin is very addictive, so we'll probably stay away from that. They found that people are getting better results just from aspirin and Tylenol, believe it or not. Long term, your pain threshold is going to be worse if you go on Vicodin or any opioid, which makes you more addictive, and it hurts more when you go off those drugs. So people are saying mixed things, but the predominant theory now is that aspirin and Tylenol are actually better pain relievers. Anyway, we'll also sell some medical marijuana out the back, and that will be integrated into our plan for legalization. So putting marijuana in the back of the unit as 1 to 3.5 gram supplies for people who want to just have something to get through the next few days. And it'll be a pretty good way of dealing with some of the problems that you're suffering from, because marijuana or meth is definitely medicinal for a lot of issues, like chemotherapy issues, hunger issues, pain issues. They're saying cannabinoids are also curative of brain cancer. So that's why this whole unit will be integrated into a plan to give people medical marijuana. Yay. Isn't that great? We won't push sodium pentothal. No, it's dangerous. It's extremely dangerous. You can OD on that stuff. That's not a good thing. So a whole new way of looking at medicine is what I'm predicting, a way of analyzing the future, your future, better, so you have a
Trump
predictor.
is dealing with a series of foreign policy crises, many of his own.
You'll know if you're predisposed to getting diabetes or... No, it never was. You're predisposed to getting diabetes or any type of heart disease. Some of you, like Arnold, his mother had heart disease and she died fairly young. He's still in Cedars-Sinai, I understand, or maybe he's out on temporary status, but he had some serious problems with one of those valves when they went in to operate to give him a new one. He had a major clash with the death. I hope he gets better, I know. And Arnold was, he's spoken recently, so we don't need to hear from him, but he's in the best place on earth for cardiovascular. Cedars-Sinai is got the top of the line coronary people in the world. And that's one of the areas of medicine, coronary medicine, that really is gives us a lot of hope that we can all live longer lives with coronary medicine the way it is right now. It's very high end. Most high tech they have. I'm back. He's back in stable condition. Yeah.
But developed complications during the procedure. The celebrity news site says the surgery lasted several hours Thursday, but that he's now in stable condition. A statement by Schwarzenegger's representative was not immediately available.
Yeah, he's back. Yeah.
Anyway, if I could just leave you with this one.
He spoke recently, stable after heart surgery. Okay. I'm glad he's okay. Okay, we got a story about how North Korean hackers became the world's greatest bank robbers. Wow.
President Trump is dealing with a series of foreign policy crises, many of his own making. For more on this, it's time for a closer look. As Trump's impending summit with North Korea gets closer, his supporters have been insisting that he be given the Nobel Peace Prize for his efforts. And hey, I'm as happy as anyone that...
All right, I guess we'll be looking at... no, I don't want to watch Saturday Night Live, sorry. So it's among the greatest heists against the United States Bank in history, and the thieves never set foot on American soil. Nor did they target some ordinary bank. They struck an account managed by the Federal Reserve Bank of New York, an institution renowned for its security. In vaults 80 feet below the streets of Manhattan, the bank holds the world's largest repository of gold. Many of those gold bars belong to foreign governments, which feel safer storing their gold inside well-defended bunkers in America than at home. On February 2016, the thieves went after $1 billion sitting in a Federal Reserve run account. This particular account happened to belong to Bangladesh. Having already backed into the servers of the Bangladesh Central Bank, the criminals waited until a Friday, a day off in many Muslim-majority nations, Bangladesh included. Then they started draining the account. Posing as Bangladesh Central Bank staff, the hackers sent a flurry of phony transfer requests to the Fed, totaling nearly $1 billion. The Fed started zapping cash into accounts managed by the thieves overseas, most of them in the Philippines. Much of the money was quickly pulled out as cash or laundered through casinos. From there, the trail goes cold. And we want to do a deal with this guy? Really? Okay, $1 billion was stolen back in February 2016 and Trump wants to shake hands with this guy? Are you serious? Oh, you're making tea out of weed now, huh? That's cool. That'll be fun to watch. Okay, we'll look at that tonight. That's one of those confirmation age things. Yeah, I don't want to do that. Sorry. All right, well, Kim Jong-un, great guy to hang out with, huh? Trump is not going to probably meet with him after all. So you Republicans that want the whole Republican or the Russian investigation to go away, you may want to wait a little while that continues to foment into criminal charges. Oh, but he won't be indicted. Don't worry. He'll be subpoenaed. Thank you. Unbelievable. These people going, oh, I'm so glad it's over. Oh, Giuliani said everything's fine. Giuliani is the biggest loudmouth in Trump's little cadre of imbeciles. He's not the smartest tack in the block, especially opening his mouth about Trump paying off Michael Cohen $130,000. And where is that $130,000? He only declared $100,000, and he didn't even declare it as a liability, a reportable liability. So we're a little unsure as to where Donald Trump is admitting where he paid Michael Cohen off, but he's now admitting he paid Michael Cohen off, even though he denied it on the plane and numerous other instances. So he's lying through his teeth on every issue. China buys record amount of Russian soybeans after canceling U.S. orders over Trump threats. You know, that's not a bad move, because remember, Russia has non-GMO soybeans. We have genetically modified soybeans, which suck. So good job, China. Good move. That was smart. Hedging against the potential shortage.
China has purchased record amounts of soybeans from Russia in recent months amid trade tensions with the U.S., Bloomberg reported. The world's biggest soybean importer, China has nearly tripled its imports for Russia, according to Bloomberg. Russian trade data shows the country sold 850,000 metric tons of soybeans to China between July 2017 and mid-May this year.
Wow, okay. So they priced their sorghum up 279% to when we buy it from them. So they're in a trade war, and Trump put us there. What do you think about that, Trump tards? You want to pipe in on that? Oh, I think Trump is doing a good job. Oh, yeah. Yeah. I can't believe these people think he's doing a good job. He put us in a trade war, not only with China, but other countries. Even Japan is now going to impose a $400 million cost on your TV sets. Yeah. How'd you like that, huh? Hey, let's get out of this marijuana land here. We're done here. Thank you. Bye-bye, MMU, and hello. Something else. Ebola outbreak into Congo spreads to a major city. Thank you, Dark Engine. Here we go. Off and running. The deadly virus fear. As if you weren't fearful enough of everything else. Ebola. Health workers don protective clothing as they prepare to attend patients in the isolation ward to diagnose and treat suspected Ebola patients. At Bikoro Hospital in Bikoro, the rural area where the Ebola outbreak was announced last week. A major, major game changer in the outbreak. This new development. It's spread to an area just outside of the city, more than 1 million people. The announcement came from the office of the Congo's health minister late Wednesday after it was learned that there was a single case of Ebola reported in Mbandaka, a densely populated city just under 100 miles from the site of the last reported case. So one case in Mbandaka. Hopefully it will not spread to more. We'll keep you posted at Fox News. But I'm not Fox News. So. Thank you, Fox. Yeah. No, Trump wants a Nobel Prize for reaching out and holding somebody's hand who's a mass murderer. Wow. And offering him cash. And we don't even know how much he offered him. Did he offer him some of the oligarchs' money, the Russian money? I have a way of accessing a lot of money, Kim. We've got a lot of accesses to lots of money. If you want money, I can make that happen, but I need you to do something for me. Shake my hand. That's all he ever asked, is shake his hand. He didn't even ask him to get rid of his nuclear missiles. Whatever. Could you read this link, please? No, I can't. I just read it. Antacid, I just read it. Yeah, I just talked about the North Korean hackers that cut in $1 billion they took from the Federal Reserve New York branch, as was going to Bangladesh. There's probably a lot of people pissed off. Yeah, and then North Korea is $1 billion richer. How Mueller's first year compares to Watergate, Iran-Contra, and Whitewater. Ooh. It's a big day. He's 1 year in. Yeah, Watergate was, they were moving quite along. Yeah. Look at all these other ones. Iran, yeah. Russia. He's hardly even started. Look at this. Check this out, folks. This is a huge factor. Nixon, it went for almost 3 years. Look at that. And then Russia, we're not even a year into it. And Trump is complaining, this is a witch hunt. This is disgraceful. I know collusion. This is a witch hunt. This is disgraceful. Ivanka, could you rub my baby toe? Thank you. I bet he has a little thing where she rubs his feet. Yeah. Okay, poll just in. 13% of Americans consider Trump honest and trustworthy. Wow. How about that? And here we thought his approval rating was in the 40s. He only has a 13% approval rating.
They would consider President Trump to be honest and trustworthy, according to a new SurveyMonkey tracking poll. Trump's honesty and trustworthiness score is down 3 points from when SurveyMonkey started conducting the tracking polls in February of 2017.
Boy, that guy's got a real interesting voice. And we will get back to another show later. Thank you for watching The Hill. We will have a new poll coming up on the next channel. How did he get a job? I went to a business recently, and I had to encounter a person with Tourette syndrome who was working at the business. And it was pretty horrific. Everybody on the entire staff was on edge, you could see. And every few seconds, this person would have this little hiccup thing that they do. But it wasn't just a hiccup thing, it was really loud, like a horn. And as much as everybody put up with it, nobody was really calm about it. It was constantly keeping people on edge. And this guy was serving people. And there's a lot of people now autistic with Tourette's and ADHD who are serving you at the stores. It's kind of amazing how many people are working who have these disabilities. And I thought to myself, that guy's got some brass balls to go in there and get a job helping people when he's got this Tourette syndrome going, you know? Yeah, I'm not going to imitate him or anything. But it was intense. Yes, many of you flat earthers, you'd fit right in with the Vatican during the Inquisition. You would have been heralded as true representatives of their thinking. Yeah, always realize that, you know, you're headed back to the origins of man. Your de-evolution plan is working great. Pretty soon you'll all be drooling and reaching down and thinking, well, maybe I'll walk on all fours. It's a little easier than hands standing up. There are people that walk on all fours in Turkey. They were raised to walk on all fours. Their entire family. It's a kind of, have you heard about this? Turkey families, Turkey walking on all fours. Yeah. This is a family that literally lives on their all fours. They've always walked on all fours. They've never stood up. This is how they get around. Wild Foods Foraging Tours help gather seed beyond Green Wall. Ooh, sounds interesting. But this is their lifestyle. And look at the people who are like the nouveau liberals in Germantown, New York. They too are gathering the buckets, and soon will be devolving into hunters and gatherers again. Yes, these people are munching on the curd of bean pods. And these families have grown up this way in Egypt. I'm going to add this to my list of things tonight just to... All right, and say goodbye to this group too. That's 11 minutes, that video. Okay, I'll put that in our show tonight. That's kind of cool. Living within their means. Thank you. We will add that later. That's not good. Your dad, Eric, you told everybody. You announced braggartly, Eric, you braggartly announced that when you told two golfers, and they are on record reporting this is what you said, Your dad and your family had access to $100 million in Russian money. Yes, and here's the link, Eric. You can verify it with Vanity Fair. Take it up with them. I'm sure they'd love a lawsuit. Yeah, go for it. If you told two golfers your dad had access to $100 million in Russian money, we want to know more. Robert Mueller wants to know more, Eric. Okay? Eric is going to pull the fifth like his brother, Donald Jr. 54 times your brother declared the Fifth Amendment. He pled the Fifth. I don't remember. It's like pleading the Fifth. It's very similar. All right. Any other question? Eric, Mueller's got enough to, did you hear about the guy Manafort was working with? One of his relatives is flipping on him. Oh, yeah. He's got a relative flipping on Manafort. Rex has super rare Beatles vids for later. We love Beatles vids here on the show. I just try to watch them when we're not recording so we don't reach out too many people, and we're just trying to enjoy it for the purpose of education. People want to know why this group was so powerful and how it influenced our country in so many big ways. We even talk about the Tavistock Institute, which kind of led to the Beatles. It's social engineering, the technology of mind control. And they were using this mind control when they developed the Beatles, and they picked the actors, and everybody who played the Beatles were really good. I was fortunate enough to be a part of Beatlemania when I was a young man. I ushered for the show. And I got a chance to meet some of the guys that actually acted just like Paul McCartney. But what really got me is Tavistock was so good at developing this whole plan and implementing the Beatles as a form of mind control that they actually spun it off and created Beatlemania. They had so many talented people who could play Paul McCartney and John Lennon. So they actually profited from it. But the music was designed to make us all really kind of open up. The love thing, they pulled our love strings and then got us involved with the peace movement, and everyone was really into that. But then they realized they had a problem because so many people were into the peace movement and to dropping acid that, actually in the peace movement, not even doing drugs. So many people were in the peace movement that they needed to diffuse it by bringing in LSD. And gradually the peace movement became known as the drug movement. And you saw the Beatles convert to that drug stage in about 6 years. It's phenomenal. The mansions get bigger and the homeless get closer. Wow, the capital of America's second Gilded Age is LA, where homes worth tens of millions of dollars look out over a city in which the middle class struggles to afford shelter and the number of homeless increase daily. So true. I was just down there in LA. It's amazing how everyone's holding it together. The fires that happened there, yeah. Bel Air. Yep. Amazing. Isn't it amazing? Intercepted deep state private chat. Rosenstein was blackmailed into appointing Mueller. Really? No kidding. This is weird. Yeah, they say that Rosenstein may be kind of like a paid shill in this whole thing. Because he's saying that you can't indict a standing president, which means that he's standing up for Trump, really, ironically. But now it's becoming clear the deep state private chat was intercepted. Rosenstein was blackmailed into appointing Mueller. Huh. Our friends all have stuff on him. According to private messages exchanged by 5 federal government employees on the day Mueller was appointed. Wow, they say their friends have stuff on him so they can control Mueller. He's got a lot of things on him that they can control him with. Intelligence insiders in Washington are exchanging the messages presented below because they believe that they show an accurate presentation of what the House Intelligence Committee has long known, that an interagency coalition of small number of operatives, including a top official at John Brennan's CIA, conspired to leak negative stories and memos on General Michael Flynn. They ran an operation called the Limey to target Flynn and weaken his mental state. Rod Rosenstein appointed Mueller because he knows our friends have stuff on him. Wow. So they've got essentially a gilded bird in a cage with Mueller. They know they can control the outcome. Very interesting. Again, this is from the deep. This is big league politics, deciding this is the truth. So we have to just filter everything. But yeah, it explains why Mueller can't. He can't even get an indictment, and he certainly can't get a subpoena to get Donald Trump's tax records for the past 10 years. So surely he's got issues with his power. That's for sure. No, Jason, we trained him not to call. We finally cured him of his illness. I'm just glad, because the young man is seriously messed up, and I was hoping that, he'd understand the word no eventually. You notice how we gave Jason a little attention by playing the song? That gave him a feeling of empowerment, which lowered his stress level, which made it possible for him to disenfranchise from the brainwashing that his father is putting him through. Yeah, he no longer has to do his dad's bidding. But when Lot Lizard got all that money, you got to wonder, what is he doing now? What's his next big move? We've been having a hard time getting into the chat room. If you've been waiting to get into the chat room tonight at Vaughn, there's numerous problems with the Vaughn server, and actually Mark doesn't seem to care, so we have to assume that he's kind of slowly not caring about the website. He's made so much money censoring our show that it's not even funny. I mean, it's beyond belief. We intercepted a chatter on his Reddit post when he was at mvaughn81, and then now it's been removed. But we intercepted the chatter, and he talked about how he made $38 million censoring us, essentially, just doing what he's told. That's what he said. All he had to do was do what he was told, and he made $38 million. I've made nothing, not a penny, in 9 years trying to build this political movement, and he makes $38 million and thinks everything's copacetic with that. Huh. Absolutely no ethics whatsoever, and clearly willing to commit a criminal act of censorship. All right, well, here you are, and here we are. Tonight's Technology Thursday, so I think it's appropriate to talk about Trump's new billionaire appointment. The CEO of Dynacorp, he's the owner and military contractor, one of the biggest, most important military industrial complex leaders out there. Steven Feinberg is now going to head the president's intelligence advisory board. Problem is, Dynacorp is connected to 817 WikiLeaks documents. Thank you. I am. So all these WikiLeaks documents, 877, related to his corporation, involved shenanigans with Hillary and all kinds of it. So, I mean, you got to wonder, how come Donald Trump isn't pursuing criminal cases against Podesta, Hillary, Jeffrey Epstein? Because he is owned by these groups of people. Yeah. He is controlled. All right, so we're bringing you hybrid capitalist solutions for America. And we even wrote a book about this. It's on our website, in the store. And the idea of hybrid capitalism is essentially the government helping to create a return of investment. And that's where I come in. I believe that we can actually create generic medicine. Trump said he was going to do it, never bothered to follow up on it. He said he was going to allow foreign purchases of Canadian medicine. Big Pharma got a hold of Trump, and now they won't allow that. Pretty interesting how these people have done nothing to advance our goals. And I certainly think that we can do better at America's Third Party. We can help the people, not just pad the pockets of Big Pharma. I'm pretty sure that's what's happening with Trump. But futuristic cars, solar panels, you name it, we'll do it. A U.S. auto corporation that makes one car. Recently, Ford, Ford Motor Company just announced they weren't going to build a sedan or a subcompact. But they're doing so well selling F-150s that they're just going to continue doing that. And then they had this massive fire at the beginning of May in their F-Series factory in Detroit, which many people are wondering how the heck Ford's going to pull this off. They got to move a die, which is about 80 feet long and thousands of tons. They got to move a die, and I think they already did. They moved it from here to another country to keep the process of production going. It's phenomenal. They used a Russian carrier to carry this die that would carry it at the size. So they're working fast to get people up and running at the Ford F-Series factories. But isn't that amazing? They shifted from no sedans. I would have kept one sedan and made sure it got really high mileage, like 100 miles per gallon. Or shoot for something with a hybrid sedan would have been a smart move. I don't understand their thinking here, but who knows? All right, we're going to play Mr. Right. Thank you for hanging out. Here it is. Mr. Right.
You're Mr. Right, my Mr. Right, too good to be true. You spin my world around, 'cause you're the peace I finally found. You sweep me off my feet, my heart stops to beat, 'cause you make me melt away. You're Mr. Right, my Mr. Right, too good to be true. My world around, 'cause you're the peace I finally found. You sweep me off my feet, my heart stops to beat, 'cause you make me melt away. Mr. Right, too good to be true.
Well, hopefully I'm not too good to be true. That's the one part of the lyrics that I couldn't control when I made that song. I used a program that had all these audio clips built into it for free. You can make your own music, and I made Mr. Right in about 15 seconds, or a couple minutes, really. It was just one of those things that just popped into place, and I said, yeah, this is good. It sounded really good. So it's hard to get that perfection when I outwitted myself, yeah. I mean, I play with music every day. I make different things that we can use in the show. I just made a little wave file called Pause. Let me stick it in my library. Okay. It's just something I just pulled together on Magix.com. It's just music, you know. It's just an interlude kind of filler kind of sound, kind of relaxing. So here we are again. Technology has been so amazing over the past 50 years in my life since I was a little kid. I had a rotary telephone when I was 8 years old. 50 years later, I've got a cordless telephone that's 10 years old. So how ironic. Actually, this is more like 20 years old. I think I bought this when I met Sarah. So, yeah, so we really have progressed. Rotary telephone, dial, and then cordless telephone. But we also have all these radio frequencies that are emanating from these cordless devices that the government doesn't really test. And there have been tests around the world that are seriously concerned that some of these things emit radio frequencies.
Call from
Jason.
We thought we had him. He almost was cured. But unfortunately, he didn't make it. We have to play your song, unfortunately.
call from
Jason.
Oh no, we got a call from Jason again. Well, we don't take your calls, Jason. Jason.
We don't take your calls, Jason.
All right, Hawaii volcano here is about to erupt. It's pretty bad. This is screenshots of 140 screenshots from the HVO Observatory Tower webcam showing the results of an ash plume explosion at the Kilauea Volcano Summit today. This is a today picture. Whoa. And the whole coastline is a rim of fire. Wow, look at the rim of fire. Burning out of control. What are we going to do? Luckily, there's seawater around there to cool it down. Too bad we can't tap into that steam. That steam is all pure water, you know. Don't want to get too close to the volcano to harvest the freshwater steam. Why is Trump interested in saving Chinese phone company? I don't know, Eric. This is the first I've heard about it. Is he working a side deal now to help certain companies in China? China is, by the way, offering a $200 billion reduction in the trade deficit. Our trade deficit last year with China was $375 billion. And as we continue to want Chinese goods, they're willing to drop $200 billion in the deficit by various means. I think that's a pretty bold plan on their end. I think it's fair. I really do. But Trump, it's not good enough. Everything's bad. We're gonna have a trade war, whether you like it or not. He just doesn't want to compromise. Remember when the Republicans accused negotiating with Obama was like negotiating with a bowl of jelly? Well, I think negotiating with Trump is more like negotiating with a bowl of sewage. You know, it smells to high heaven and it can't possibly be good. At least with Jell-O, you can eat it. David, please give me advice. I need your help. You can't, there's no help for you. You're not allowed to post topics about your personal body habits here. Yeah, your addiction is something you need to seek professional help with. Thank you very much, Eric. You're very, very kind. Ivanka would be very kind too to you. She would be very kind to you. Jared would be very kind to you. Jared and Ivanka would be kind in many ways to you, Eric. Well, I'm glad. Are those drugs kicking in, Anita? She's on some pretty serious painkillers. Good. Feeling good, Anita. That's nice. Okay, good. It's huge. It's huge. She will give you and Jared a wonderful time. The three of you will have a wonderful time. It's incredible. Hey, you want to see Michael Obama's huge schlong? I don't think that's huge. Why is there microplastic coming out of my mouth? I thought they cleaned the silicone cavity of my throat and gullet area. Okay, hold on just a second. If you ain't got it, I think this guy does.
it, better get it. Yeah, if you ain't got it, better get it. Yeah, check it. Yeah, yeah. We got it. 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 You know 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 it. Come on. 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 You know it. Come on.
All right. That was Scissor Fight's song he came up with, If You Ain't Got It. Maybe the deep state has it. Yeah. How is it the deep state is not working with Donald Trump right now? It seems like they're giving him all the cover they possibly could. Even his friend Jeff Zucker at CNN has helped him out, pulled stories on Michael Flynn, all kinds of things. Trump's getting good cover from the deep state. I don't understand why they think that he's going against the deep state. Trump is completely locked step with the deep state. You might as well just hold hands and give him a reach around. Yeah, yes. Yeah, so that was Scissor Fight's song he just created. Okay, here's a Bill Gates story. Well, let's be clear. I know you wanted me to play Michelle Obama's video. I didn't want to. I'm waiting to the last minute on that one. Bill Gates dishes on his meetings with Trump. Scary much he knew about my daughter's appearance. Really?
You ever wonder what people who've actually met Donald Trump, especially powerful, successful people in American business and beyond, who've had to try and interact with him because he's a leader of the free world, say about those encounters behind closed doors? Now, All In has obtained some never-before-seen footage that gives you a good idea of what one of the wealthiest men in the world, Bill Gates, thinks of the president. Bill Gates took questions during a recent Gates Foundation meeting with staff, and he talked about meeting Donald Trump. Here's what he had to say.
Yeah, so I never met Donald Trump before he was elected. There was a thing during the election where he and I were at the same place, and I avoided him. Anyway, then he got elected, and so I went to see him in December. He knew my daughter Jennifer because Trump has this horse show thing down in Florida. In fact, he went up and talked to Jen and was being super nice. And then about 20 minutes later, he flew in a helicopter to the same place. So clearly he had been driven away, but he wanted to make a grand entrance in a helicopter. Anyway, so when I first talked to him, it was actually kind of scary how much he knew about my daughter's appearance. But Melinda didn't like that too well. Anyway.
Wow. That's enough right there to get a real a layer of resentment coming out of the Gates. Wow. And now Melinda was unhappy too about her daughter being looked at by him. Are you getting what I'm getting? Do you see what I see? a pattern of womanization going back as far as decades, where Donald Trump is a troll. He's trolling these women everywhere he goes. Oh, you're looking beautiful. Oh, how old are you? 17. Oh, come over here, darling. I want to talk to you. I mean, can you believe this? And we've got this guy as our president. What has happened here? Nothing has happened. That's what happened. We didn't get any redress from Bill Clinton. I never had sexual relations with that woman. We never got any redress from Hillary at her behavior. We haven't had any redress of all these times that women and men have engaged in bizarre behavior. We haven't had any prosecution. Yeah, that's what he's implying, that Melinda was very upset as the way he talked about his daughter's body. I mean, can you believe this guy? I mean, I believe Bill Gates more than I do Donald Trump. Donald Trump only has a 13% approval rating for believability. Bill Gates has like more like a 60% approval rating for believability.
So I saw him at Trump Tower. I said, hey, science and innovation is a great thing. You should be a leader who drives innovation. And that conversation was about a broad set of things in energy, in health, in education. Pick things you want to do that are big. HIV vaccine, you could, accelerate that. Be associated with innovation. And then the second time I saw him was the March after that, so March 2017 in the White House. In both of those two meetings, he asked me if vaccines weren't a bad thing, because he was considering a commission to look into ill effects of vaccines. And somebody, his name is Robert Kennedy Jr., was advising him that vaccines were causing bad things. And I said, no, that's a dead end. That would be a bad thing. Don't do that. Both times he...
Bad thing, don't do that. Don't investigate vaccines. Bad thing, don't do that. We're completely in a disagreement on that issue, I'm sure. I'm more inclined to believe we should investigate vaccines.
Wanted to know if there was a difference between HIV and HPV. So I was able to explain that those are rarely confused with each other.
Oh, but wait, there's more, including how President Trump talks about himself.
Okay, I can't wait. Okay, we're done there. Thank you. All right, thank you. Well, I believe vaccines should be looked at, and I know that...
And his first sentence kind of threw me off.
Yale has done a recent study of 2014. They studied the effects of vaccines on black children, and they found a 38% higher incidence of vaccination or related autism. That it was the speed of the vaccines by which they delivered these that affected the autism rates, to increase them 38%. The faster you put vaccines in a body, the less the body can handle it, and rejection rate can amount to neurological disorders. Remember, we talked about you're not allowed to post that stuff anymore, man. Yeah, you have to come up with original thoughts to be in the chat room. I'm amazed you lasted this long. Yeah, we have a higher standard than most chat rooms. You could be banned just for not having intelligent thought. I'm so sorry. We're following the Donald Trump standard for intelligence. We don't want to deviate from that, because Donald Trump has set the bar for intelligence in America. It's pretty high up there. If you think about it, well, you're thinking too much. So stop thinking at all. Thinking is too much to do when you're trying to establish a thought, like how smart you are and how you're a stable genius.
Is Donald Trump an intellectual? Trust me, I'm like a smart person. I went to the best colleges for college. I went to Wharton. I had a situation where I was a very excellent student. I'm a person that very strongly believes in academics. I was a nice student.
I have a very good brain, and I've said a lot of things.
I understand things. I comprehend very well. Better than
I think almost anybody. I'm very highly educated. I know words. I have the best words. I'm like a very smart person. Like a smart person. I'm a very smart person. It's like I'm a smart person. Very intelligent person. Like a lot of us are really smart. I'm really smart. We're going to have smartness.
What you just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard. At no point in your rambling, incoherent response were you even close to anything that could be considered a rational thought. Everyone in this room is now dumber for having listened to it. I award you no points, and may God have mercy on your soul.
Thank you. Yes, well, we're happy that he set the standard. Now, we've got another situation evolving with Starbucks. You're not going to believe this one, but remember the 2 black men that were arrested for simply waiting for somebody outside of a Starbucks over in Pennsylvania? Well, this Latino customer received a cup with the word Beaner on the label. Yeah, check this out.
Starbucks still reeling from several ugly racial incidents. A worker at La Cañada Flintridge Starbucks allegedly wrote a slur that is very offensive to Latinos on a customer's cup. And tonight, people are outraged. KCAL 9's Chris Holmstrom is live tonight with more. Chris?
Jeff, it all happened at this Starbucks you see behind me. It was on Tuesday morning, and as you can imagine, people living in this area are outraged.
En español es frijoleros. Beaner, you know, in English.
Miguel Acosta defending his friend after learning he received this drink from the La Cañada Flintridge Starbucks. On the label, a racial slur toward Latinos. His co-worker helps translate.
Yesterday went to Starbucks and they asked for his name, and his name is Peter, and they wrote this Beaner. And he's saying that it's not fair.
Miguel says his friend didn't deserve this and doesn't understand why he was targeted.
And his friend's really sad right now with everything that's going through. So it's really hard.
People living nearby also in disbelief.
I'm shocked. I go to that Starbucks almost every day.
And I'm disappointed in Starbucks. I mean, that's when you put something in a computer and put a name on something, you're labeling someone. And I think that's not right.
At Starbucks, customers I spoke with had no idea, but tell me they would have thought twice before making a purchase.
And I guess it brings back a lot of discrimination. It brings back a lot of old, growth that we should have had before.
This incident comes 1 month after a black man at a Torrance Starbucks claims he was denied access to a bathroom. And in Philadelphia, 2 black men were arrested after waiting for a business meeting at a Starbucks. And now, racist remarks on cups. The Starbucks manager declined to talk to me on camera, but the company released this statement saying, "This is not indicative of the type of experience we want our customers to have when they walk into our stores. We have apologized to them directly and are working to make things right."
I wonder if they put the word, if they screen these people with a personality exam at the very least, I mean, have you ever been a racist? Yeah. Have you ever done blackface impersonations of Barack Obama? I don't think I'd get a job there, or maybe I would get a job. Who knows? Depends on the screening. Yeah. Well, I'm hurt that people are hurt. That they're, if I had the word cracker written on it, they'd probably think I was ordering scones or something. And I probably wouldn't even get in the news. Oh, by the way, my cup says cracker on it. Thanks. But no, that's serious when a person's called a racial epithet when they're ordering some coffee, and they're paying a high price too for that coffee. That's not cheap. We paid like $4.75 for some ridiculous drink that Sarah got, and I think I paid $4 for a cold brew grande when I was down in LA, down in Los Angeles recently. I love the fact that people, Hispanic people, are welcoming the white people to the LA region again. Having left LA for 20 years now, I felt welcome again to come back to Los Angeles now that it's been taken over by Latin American people. I really do. I felt totally at ease. Even around gang members at Disneyland, I was completely calm. Of course, they had to go through metal detectors like I did. But I'm just telling you, it really was calming to know that I could go back to my home country and my home state and still feel normal. So it's not like there's a lot of friction there. I really don't get that friction. I had great conversations with Latin American people in the buses going in and out of the Disneyland promenade area. I met a wonderful black lady too that gave me references to how I could buy a wheelchair like she had.
China has purchased record amounts of soybeans from Russia in recent months amid trade tensions with the U.S., Bloomberg.
We know. China's moving up. They're mounting a huge back store of food to take us on in this trade war. Oh, we could easily win a trade war with China, no problem. All right, well, I guess we'll find that out. I'm glad Donald Trump doesn't do anything, because if he did, gosh, he'd actually be dangerous. He's reeling from all the Russian investigations, so he can't really do a lot, which is nice. He hasn't really accomplished anything. That's a good thing. If he actually did something, the old saying, little knowledge is dangerous, that would really play out. Pentagon can tell you who you are by how you hold your phone. Wow. Did not know they had that technology. They have a big plan to solve identity verification in 2 years by asking for me to sign up. The plan grew out of efforts to modernize the Defense Department ID cards. The Defense Department is funding a project that officials say could revolutionize the way companies, federal agencies, and military itself verify the people who they say they are, and could be available in most commercial smartphones within 2 years. The technology, which will be embedded in smartphones hardware, will analyze a variety of identifiers that are unique to an individual, such as the hand pressure and wrist tension when the person holds a smartphone and the person's peculiar gait while walking. Oh, give me a break. Oh, God. What a joke. Thank you. It's like Bill Gates when he wants to monitor how many hand movements you do at your job. If you're in the Amazon procurement center, you have to wear a little like a pedometer on your arm showing how much movement you do. And the more movement you do, the more you move up in the ranks as a procurement person, because they say, well, you're doing a lot of work. You're showing a lot of performance. So I came up with a way in which you could spoof the machine. So while you're lifting packages and putting them on the shelf like this, in between movements, you just go like this. And then put the package over there. And then put it over there. And then Jeff Bezos will give you a really big bonus for having moved your arms more than anybody else. Yeah, like a trained monkey. I don't know. It was funny when I first came up with the joke, but not anymore. The only person who's laughing really is Jeff Bezos. Yeah, you could get money going in the bathroom and masturbating. Good point. Are you talking about masturbators as in people that bait fish? Because you seem to be in a fish country. You're one of those Greek people, right? You're in Norway now, but you are a person who baits fish. Masturbators. About 1/2 U.S. families can't afford rent. This is ridiculous. You got Donald Trump spending $86 million, $87 million on going to golf clubs, and then cutting $3 million out of the Meals on Wheels program so your parents can't get food. And now half the families in America can't afford basics like rent and food. Wenny.com, W-E-N-Y, W-E-N-Y. The economy may be chugging along, but the Americans are still struggling to afford basic middle-class life. Nearly 51 million households don't earn enough to afford a monthly budget that includes housing, food, childcare, healthcare, transportation, and a cell phone, according to a study released Thursday. by the United Way Alice Project. That's 43% of the households in the United States. Well, they should just join the United Way and become workers there. They make tons of money. You know that 85% of the United Way money that you donate goes to the paychecks of the people at the United Way? Thanks, Winnie. Yeah, these people are making bank on United Way donations. Why doesn't United Way take that money and give it back to the poor people instead of talk about a study done showing people don't make enough to cover their basics? You wouldn't even get close there, buddy. Thanks, Tsunami. Yeah, I wear brick protection wherever I go. Guy just threatened to smash my face in with a brick. I'm not Reginald Denny, dude. You know, I was in the same intersection that Reginald Denny went in back in the LA riots time, 1993. I was in that intersection that Reginald Denny was in, Florence and Normandy, 1 week before the LA riots. And nobody kicked my ass with a brick. I lived through the LA riots, dude. Poor Reginald Denny, he forgave the guy, the assailant that hit him with a brick. Can you imagine? That's a real Christian thing to do. Forgive the guy for hitting you with a brick caving in your face? Not going to happen on my watch. Okay, yes, I'm Greek in Norway, and yes, I will fish for halibut in tuna, Dave, for my job as a tour guide. Oh, so you fish on the side while you're a tour guide? That's cool. I lived in San Pedro, man. Yeah, that was a pretty rough area during the LA riots. Actually, I lived in Rancho Palos Verdes, which is adjoining San Pedro, but just a few miles away. Anyway, yeah, that's where I was during the... We had a curfew at 10 o'clock. We all had to go to bed at 10 o'clock. We couldn't walk in the streets during those 2 weeks there during the LA riots. You did know that we had a curfew, right, in LA? You weren't allowed on the streets. It was serious. I left LA because of that. I was personally assaulted verbally. Not battery wasn't committed, but I was assaulted by numerous gang members and threatened my life. So I had to leave the area. Finally got out of there. No, Wig Wednesday was yesterday, and you guys didn't go for any wigs, so now I've got my real hair here. Yep. Your choice. You have to ask for a wig. Nobody asked for a wig last night. No, I received death. Well, I got death threats for living in LA. Just being, you know, a person living in LA. Anybody living in LA is going to get death threats. If you're an average person living in LA, you're going to get a couple death threats in your life. Yeah. Something wrong with this guy? I mean, what's going on in his eyes? It's like, what's that thing happening in his eyes? David, you lived in the Rolling Hills, a very affluent area of Los Angeles. I'm doubtful you saw any black men during the riots. No, I did not live in Rolling Hills. I lived in Rancho Palos Verdes, which adjoins San Pedro. Just down the street from my home, less than 300 feet away from my home residence, Japanese students were killed at 3:30 in the morning by Mexican gang members. Just 300 feet away from my bedroom. Poor Japanese people were there, and they were hanging out. They went to the Ralph's Market. Two students near, yeah, I don't have the story in front of me, but it was pretty serious at the time. Way back in 1994, 93 actually. Okay, Jeff, how you doing? Okay. Okay, I'm working on it. I'm trying to do a Jeff Bezos laugh impersonation. I'm working on it. Thank you. Yeah, people die in rich, affluent areas. Don't think you're safe just because you live in LA. I'm working on it, I said. Gold tanking, 1288. Silver, okay, 1641. It made a little bit of a comeback, but Dow Jones, not really that great. 24,713. Another lackluster day on the Dow Jones. It was a topsy-turvy day up and down the bunny trail for investors like Carl Icahn and Warren Buffett. There's only two people investing now on the stock market, Warren Buffett and Carl Icahn. The rest have given up. And they were off and running on a downward cycle, and then up, 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 bullish, downward, bearish, upward, downward, 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 upward, upward. Oh, we got to do something. Oh, golly, oh, let's make some more money. Ooh. And it down 54.95 points. Another down day on Wall Street. Dump. Dump Trump. Poor Trump, he's not helping. David, why do you get so many death threats? Because I'm a very popular person that people love to hate. And because people are concerned that I might just pull this off, that maybe I might be a problem for the powerful elitists that have lots of money to pay people to hate me. So they pay people to come in here and troll us and threaten my life, because they know that I'm not the kind of guy who's going to sit back and watch these people manipulate all of you poor folk who need a little guidance. You know, I'm a shepherd by avocation, so I don't have any sheep, and I don't want you to be my sheep, but I'm more likely to lead than to follow, so that's why they're after me. But I'm not paranoid. I don't worry about them trying to get me, because they don't have the balls to get near me, okay? I got my stuff. I'm highly trained, a martial artist with this stuff, okay? Yes, ATP's lagging for everybody, not just you. Our show is being DDoSed at all levels right now. We saw some activity all around the country. There's real DDoSing against the U.S. It's phenomenal. We saw a picture of it last night. Scissorfight sent us a picture. We as a nation are under attack. Dave, I've met many people there that resemble you from the fjords of West Norway. Yeah, the people there in the fjords are very similar to my family line. They live in the northern area, the west northern area. Yeah, the Orja. Yeah, the people there are beautiful. This is the area that my family left in the 1870s. And I would love to go back, you know. It's just beautiful. I never was there, so technically my chromosomes would be going back. But yeah, we're talking absolutely stunning, gorgeous views of the fjords. And there's a beautiful place to go swimming and skinny dipping. Absolutely stunning. I mean, it's a place that I would love to go to and visit. My family, from my father's side, has a farm there and a winery. And I would love to meet those people, but they wouldn't, you know, they wouldn't even know who I am. Well, actually, Lars did talk about me to them, so they probably know who I am. I met Lars Sponheim, who's not a blood relative, but he lived in the same community as the farm that my family has in Norway and the winery. And his family line acquired the Sponheim name. Yeah, isn't that amazing? And so he shares the same last name, but he's not a blood relative. But the castle in Germany that my family left in the 1100 era to move to Norway, that's even more interesting, I think. That's a pretty beautiful building. It's exemplary. The small town of Sponheim in Germany. About 900 people live there. Yeah. And this is the castle that they built. Isn't that amazing? My chromosomes helped build that castle. I've been pretty busy over the centuries. My chromosomes have. Very straight lines, too. These were not built with machines. It's 600 AD this was built. And my family left in 1100 AD. Left the other family and the Habsburgs to sort it all out. They were our nemesis. Yeah, it's definitely a win. I don't know if I ever will go to Germany, but Norway would be nice. Beautiful views of the town of Sponheim. It's in the Rhineland. All right. Thank you. Call from Mason. I'm glad that worked out, that we were able to at least have descendants and moved here in America. I happened to meet one of my third cousins and had a very bad encounter with him. Very bad. And it got worse over time because I found out that my family has a lot of bad blood. Just anger, a lot of hostility under the table. I was quite shocked, actually. So I try not to associate with family members anymore because it seems like they were not very nice to each other when they arrived in America. That's the best way I could put it. Okay, Mr. and Mrs. Mason lived in Marlborough. Oh, okay. Should I write that down, Anita? Or are you going to give us a test later? A multiple choice test? So we'll answer it correctly. Well, it's too bad. Yeah, I mean, I almost should put it in my book, the bad blood that happened between my great-grandfather and his brothers. But it's a serious story, and I'll tell you about it some other time. It's bizarre. And I met the descendant of the other brothers, and it was just like, I don't really want to meet you, sir. I'm out of here. This isn't working out. A very strange person, too. All right, so right, if you have any questions about Trump working for the deep state, we have the emblem here. We can give you any valid proof that Trump is working for the deep state. He's not fighting it. He's not stopping the chemicals that they're dumping on top of our heads. He's not stopping the radio frequencies that constantly hit our brains. He's not doing anything. He's a bad president. Not good. Not gonna do it. I would stop the reckless use of the 5G network. I would terminate its use as a primary network because it doesn't serve a purpose. It's simply a dangerous upping of the ante on human survival. Thank you. Well, when I write it, you can buy it. I'm still in the process of writing it. Margot Kidder, who played Lois Lane, recently passed away. Margot Kidder died at the age of 69. An interesting side note about her life, she had suffered from bipolar disorder. There she is with Christopher Reeves, their Academy appearance. And a different time, but Margot Kidder, I had a chance to meet her personally, so when she died, it was a touching moment because I remember how full of life she was, and when I met her. But she spent 3 years writing a book, and you want to talk about technology going haywire. She spent 3 years writing her autobiography, and back in 1996, her computer got hit with what is called a virus. Remember those? This is like early on in the virus world, and it literally destroyed her hard drive. Everything she'd written was gone. And she went on kind of a binge where she kind of freaked out and she did a lot of weird things. They said she was having a mental breakdown. But when you think about it, 3 years of an autobiography lost is a major blow to anybody. And I don't think she ever wrote her autobiography. A lot of stuff would have been in that and would have been good to read it. But, geez, I never heard of a case that bad. Yeah, with all the backup we have now, even then, you don't know if your stuff in the cloud is safe. Look what happened to Tiger Woods and Lindsey Vonn. The sex tape that came out at Al Jazeera, and they've been fighting it. Celeb Jihad was leaking it, and I think they're suing Celeb Jihad. Yep, and Celeb Jihad, I'm not going to show you the site or the photographs, but other than just her face, but they were using cloud storage for a while, and it was not a good thing because apparently Tiger Woods wanted her to do a little nudity thing with him. He's in a kind of a funky space there, not really too clear on what's going on with Tiger there. Obviously had a little problem with his muscles, and some serious muscle problems could lead to major pain, and maybe he was on some painkillers, who knows. But I think it looked pretty cool. Yeah, I could actually, I could get into just being Tiger Woods for a minute, Sorry. But yeah, can you imagine nudity and all that? And he hangs with Mr. Man, Make America Great Again. He's close. He has some people, that know some people that help him, like Donald Trump. Tiger Woods, remember, he's worth about $500-600 million. It's not like they don't have the money to hire a good attorney to go after Celeb Jihad, but yeah. Well, I mean, the pictures are out there, and you can't bring them back. So all he can get, all Lindsey can get, is damages, financial damages from whatever this place is, Celeb Jihad. All right. I'm not giving you the link. You're going to have to look it up yourself. Well, I definitely don't have a black side of my family. I'm a part Native American, and I'd appreciate it if you wouldn't call me black, even though I look a little bit black. I'll admit that. Yeah, I appreciate that. It gives me a little bit, comfort. I mean, you could say that Abraham Lincoln was Jewish, for all I care, which he was. He was the first Jewish president. You didn't know that? Well, now somebody had to tell you. I'm glad it was me. I come from a small village in Tarth. My role in the movie was not my role, because it's not me. It's not just an impersonator pretending to be me. But my role in the movie was simply made up, fictitious. My true life is different here in America. But no, seriously, Brienheim, right? You'll get your coat. I look more like Snoop Doggy Dogg, frankly. He did a white face, and I gotta tell you, man, this kicks butt. I mean, he definitely impersonated me better than I can impersonate myself. What's happening, baby? Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Yeah, baby. Oh, yeah. That's what I'm talking about. Oh, yeah. But no, seriously. LOL, WTF on that. The show has been difficult over the years. I've been shocked, and this is one time when I was freaked out in the show, and I didn't know what to say, and they captured my response when I'm scared. That was a screen hijacker that attacked me. But I'm probably more likely best known for looking like Frankenstein. The massive forehead with my massive brain pan makes me possibly the construct of a deeper, more disturbing relic of the past. Dr. Frankenstein. Oh, yes. All right, we're having some fun tonight. I'm glad somebody's smiling because I'm supposed to bring you entertainment, not diplotainment. Donald Trump is in charge of diplotainment, pretending to have diplomacy instead just turning it into like a big joke. I should be added to the Wax Museum. I would like my Wax Museum image to represent Abraham Lincoln, though. I think I more seriously look like Abraham than anyone else in history. Exact same body type, physical stature and everything. "4 years ago. Too bad I was married to that insane woman, Mary Todd Lincoln. Man, she had some serious PTSD, I'm telling you. Hattie, I'm back. Just because they shot me doesn't mean I'm dead. They reincarnated me and built new chromosomes, and I'm back to bring back America, dang it." He's more hairy. Okay. Yeah, he did have more facial hair. You know, he was 2 years younger than me in that picture. Isn't that amazing? Man, he took on some stress, I'm telling you. Very stressed guy. Super stressful. Well, let's be clear. Some people think I'm Smiling Bob, the guy, the Enzyme guy. You got to admit, he does look a lot like me, but his eyebrows are different, and that's about the only thing I can say is different about us. But he's in federal prison for deceiving people, so he couldn't possibly be doing a show right now. Yeah. A different guy entirely. Ha 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 ha. Do you suffer from erectile dysfunction? Yeah, remember him? Didn't he have like 11 more children? No. Abe Lincoln? No, he didn't. Hey, here's a really good quote from Jacques Fresco, who just passed away at 100 years old. "If you want a better world, you have to get up off your ass and make it better." So true. So true. Yeah, you actually have to make it better. You got to get up off your ass. Here was a rare candid picture of me on Times Square. And somebody said, "Dave, that's photoshopped." Is it? Is it really? I don't know. I'm hearing other stories about this image, that I have been on Times Square before. In my dreams. All right. I know, I'm a celebrity. I know. That's what they tell me that. But no one really knows who I am. Here in America, I'm pretty much unknown. Wherever I go, people don't recognize me. They think I'm some just average person who looks like My Favorite Martian or something. I'm sure I can fix the spaceship. Don't worry. Bill Bixby. He's my co-partner. I forgot his name. I forgot Bill Bixby's name in the show, My Favorite Martian. Yeah. The antenna would fit. Well, we're just kind of doing a round robin talk because there's not a lot going on in the news. Trump is, he's tweeting new things, but they're all the same old tweets back and forth. "Well, I'm going to go after Kim Jong-un now. If he doesn't do this right now, we're going to do this because he remembers Gaddafi. We'll do exactly what he did." He's threatening him. It's like, dude, last week you were going to be friends and meet with him and shake hands. Now you're threatening him? It's unbelievable. It's wrong. It's not right. I also look like William Macy, people say. I got to tell you, that, you know, if you haven't seen Shameless, he is so good in Shameless. He plays the father who's a junkie, and he's looking for everything from meth to crack to heroin to whatever you want to get your hands on. And he's so funny. He's the funniest guy ever. He's a great actor too. And I'm just saying that because I really like the way he looks. He looks just like me. Sorry. Oh, Gilligan, yeah. The Professor N, Mary Ann. Well, I think I've covered the gambit. We don't really need to talk about anything anymore. So we got 30 minutes to kill. I'll pretend like I'm Johnny Cab, and you can ask Johnny Cab questions. Where would you like to go today in your Uber, sir? We did show you a brand new flying drone Uber. That was very fun. We would like to do that. Yeah, the Hawking's vocal module still talks. You could actually still talk to Stephen Hawking. They kept the computer system. I don't know. Go now, go. These are high points in our show tonight. We got to look at Ivanka before her surgery. There you go. Amazing, isn't it? What plastic surgery will do. Yeah. I was told by a very famous person that I needed plastic surgery. And he was a man who I met one night with a friend of mine driving around in his Cadillac his mom gave him. He was talking about what a famous actor he would be, and he told me that I needed a nose job. Armand Assant. You probably remember him as this guy. That's the guy I met. Anyway, he said his father was a plastic surgeon, and that he definitely would need. He said you need a nose job. He really needed a. It's like, okay, Armand, really? I think your nose needs a little work. I mean, it's seemingly leaning in one direction. I don't know about you, but I'm sure his dad's out of the business now. But he said he would become a famous actor because his father was a famous plastic surgeon. That's what he told me. It's like, well, I guess he was famous. He was in quite a few movies. I don't know. It looks like his nose was broken, but yeah, he told me I needed a nose job. I was like, I don't know, man. I think yours is a little too thin there. Very low self-esteem, yeah. Yeah, Uber has that quaint Nazi ring to it. Coincidence? I think not. Ladies and gentlemen, courtesy of the Fourth Reich, we bring you Uber, the car prototype for the flying future. We are now playing a repeat of the Uber drone for a lack of technology tonight. Let's take a look. This is the drone in flight. It's a really cool because the rotors back each other up. There's no way you'd have to lose two rotors to go down. It will allow users to ride share in the sky. That's pretty cool. And it's going to be self-flying, right? Company said the price will be similar to an UberX ride of the same distance. That's pretty awesome. The aircraft will travel 2,000 feet above the traffic at speeds of 150 to 200 miles per hour. The aircraft will be flown by pilots. Oh, really? Hello. I am flying you now. They're going to make them autonomous in the future, though. Okay, so the initial ones will be flown by pilots, and they will take off and land from skyports. But I wonder if they'll have parachutes.
Motors or any of these components fails, the aircraft is still completely flyable because of one of these rotors. So 8 rotors total, and so it's a very safe design because if one of these rotors or motors or any of these components fails, the aircraft is still completely flyable. It's a completely new type of vehicle that has never actually been built before. It's also very quiet.
Yeah, I'm really liking it. You know, the idea of drone travel really takes the worry of helicopter travel out of the... Yeah, they're way more stable than helicopters. And if you've ever been in a helicopter, I haven't been, but they're very dangerous. High chance of crashing. But I would definitely want... They're going to... Beginning of 2020, they're going to roll these things out in cities like Dallas. Dallas is slated to get some of these things. Yay. I just don't know about traveling without parachutes. I just think we need to get parachutes up and running. That's why I'm proposing a blimp plane idea. I don't like any planes could be hacked into, you're right. We have to resolve the hacking problem. The hacking problem is number one. But parachutes would be nice. The blimp plane started as just an idea, you know. A concept. 21st century high mileage air travel as fast as 400 miles per hour. And then I realized, well, there's all these options. We've got fuselage and jets. They're sitting in empty spaces that are of all the aluminum that we need. Yeah. We've already got amazing supplies of abandoned jets that need to get lifted. So I came up with this simple plan to build a blimp on top of the back of these planes. And therein was the origin of the blimp plane. Then I went to a Beyond Oil exhibition here in Seattle at the Microsoft Center. And I talked about this idea to a bunch of people from Boeing. And they laughed at me at first and then kind of looked at me odd and then said, well, we've been considering cargo movement and things like that. And they came up with the Boeing hybrid blimp right after my meeting a few years later. And the Boeing hybrid blimp is a full-on design, designed specifically for carrying cargo. But the blimp plane has a greater capacity to provide flights even from back and forth from LA to New York, could be 10 hours. And each unit would be equipped with a parachute system that would prevent it from falling or crashing. It's unlikely it'll get up to 400 miles per hour, but we anticipate 2 to 300, which means you should be able to go from LA to New York in about 10 hours. That would be the hope. And the first blimp plane operation will take place once I become president. We'll get a government operation going to divert some funds in the FAA to focusing on building one and seeing if it'll work. I'm not personally profiting from any of these ideas. I just think that they will really save a lot, 85% on fuel, which will translate into a cheaper price for you. Yay. Hey, fun to talk to Sarah. Yeah, Teleblaster, thank you. Take care. Sleep well. Yeah, there's going to be a lot of wind all over the place. Wind can push it around, but it'll have a frictionless surface. There won't be any friction on it. The displacement factor is the only issue you have to deal with. The surface will be friction-free. There's all these new technologies like hydrophobic material could be put on the outside of it that prevent anyone from or anything from sticking to it, so it would fly through the air with the greatest of ease. Yeah, there's lots of hydrophobic material out there. Ross Nanotechnology makes one system that's pretty good.
Okay, this is Never Wet Super Hydrophobic Fabric System, this particular bottle. We also make a paint that paints on surfaces. But with this product, you can spray it on any clothing and it will make your clothing super hydrophobic. Water and heavy oils will just shoot off of it. Chocolates, ketchup, mustard, all of that sort of thing. Hydrophobic means that a surface is water resistant. Super hydrophobic means that the water will shoot off of a surface, won't even
So this is one of the examples right here of how our government. Thank you. Thanks for reminding me. Wow, Ilana, I'll take a look at that. Thank you. Hang on. This is an example of how the Whitewater investigation went on for 8 years, 7 years, 7.5 years. Russia hasn't even started, and all the Republicans are complaining about is, oh, this has been going on. This is a witch hunt. Oh, Watergate went on 4 years. Iran-Contra went on 7 years. This Mueller investigation is just getting started. You Republicans better bag it, because this is exactly how we find out how corrupt somebody like Trump can be. Hey, Vodcat. No, I'm at my home now. We will be doing undisclosed Starbucks Wi-Fi transmissions, though, at various times. We are planning on that. Okay, here we go. This is a helicopter that's sitting over one of our iVlog families experienced this. Ilana, she sent us this link. Trimming trees by power.
As Trump's impending summit with North Korea gets closer, his...
All right, so we've got, yeah, that's pretty good innovation, I must say. Thanks, Ilana. Very interesting. And North Korea, yeah, just to follow up, North Korea has hacked, early in February of 2016, they hacked into the New York Federal Reserve and got $1 billion. Yeah, you heard me right. They were able to hack into the New York Federal Reserve through a Bangladesh access point in vaults 80 feet below the streets of Manhattan. They broke in and they took, in February of 2016, $1 billion sitting in a federal run account. They posed as a Bangladesh central bank staff. They sent a fury of phone requests to the Fed totaling nearly $1 billion. The hackers did. And the Fed started zapping cash into accounts managed by these thieves. Much of the money was quickly pulled out as cash out of the Philippines and laundered through casinos. That makes you wonder, this happened through the Philippines, it makes you wonder, is Duterte working with Kim Jong-un? You know how Donald Trump is really close to Duterte, you know, really likes him even though he's killed 6,000 people without a trial? Yeah, just without any, just killing them outright. The FEMA 20-foot flying chainsaw. There you go. They're interested in Rose Noah's Ark found? Okay. Well, you know, you can post links here, by the way. You just want me to look for it? Okay, I can do that. Hold, please. Noah's Ark has been found. Oh, how nice. There it is. Unsolved mysteries. There it is. Wow. Okay, case solved. There it is. We found it. You don't have to worry about Noah's Ark anymore. Problem solved. Noah's Ark, Unexplained Mysteries. Yeah, we'll add that to our show tonight. The 4-minute one that Tsunami Rose just sent. Excellent. The other one's 33 minutes. I don't think it's relevant. You know, I should do a history in a second show, you know? Encapsulate 15,000 years in like 1 second. and talk about things in just broad strokes. And the Minoan civilization predated the Egyptian civilization, and they had a really cool way of doing things. They lived like the dolphins. X-Files. And we all know now that Bill Gates, as Melinda, was worried that Donald Trump was making some untoward statements about their daughter, who is a very attractive woman, Jennifer Gates. And when they were talking to Trump, Bill Gates, we did talk about this, Bill Gates made some comments that he knew about her physical appearance more than they really wanted her to know. And Melinda was very upset. We just played this a few minutes ago.
He said, Trump hears that you don't like what Trump is doing. And I thought, wow, but you're Trump. So I don't, I didn't know if the third party form was what was expected. Well, Gates says, but Gates knows that you're not doing things right.
Is this Woody Allen? Because he seems like he's Woody Allen. He must be Woody Allen. He looks more and more like Woody Allen every day, doesn't he? Bill Gates, Woody Allen. They look alike. Yeah, they practically look identical. Yep. Gates goes Woody. Here's Woody. And he's had some pretty outrageous statements made about his daughter recently made some statements about what he used to do to her when, Mia Farrow gave custody over to Woody for just visitation, and the daughter is now speaking out about what they did. He has kind of a Woody look, doesn't he? Yeah, he could play Woody Allen in a movie. Maybe if he runs out of money, he'll need a job. Maybe get him a job as maybe a Woody Allen impersonator. That'd be kind of cool. Bill Gates loses all his capital and runs out of money. Not going to happen. I saw Bill Gates' mugshot, yeah. When he was young. When he was just a young man. He was arrested for doing bad things. Here he was. What was it, a marijuana charge that he got caught with? He was a young dropout. I mean, what can I tell you, His parents were really, really wealthy. That's how Bill Gates built his entire profile. And plus, he did a lot of work for the government. Bill Gates never would have even succeeded if we hadn't seen really cheap memory born out of our technology, too. The advent of cheap storage devices, and it's been getting amazingly cheap over the years, really opened up the door so that Microsoft could function, because they wouldn't function without patchworks of fixes on their operating system because it's that flawed. And now, over the years, he's made all this money and he won't even give support for operating systems he sold at one time, like Windows 98 and Windows XP. And there are still backdoors fully exploitable on those software packages that he made tons and tons of money off government sales. So I think he owes the government some money. I really do. A rebate. There's something not right about the way he funded his operation, making money on the government acquisition of these operating systems. They just kept ordering more and more for every government installation. And every year they needed a new one, so they just took that out of the budget. So we financed the growth of Microsoft. The government pretty much should own Microsoft by this time. I don't know, it's just all these companies like Google and Facebook have all been born out of Department of Defense funding and dollars. And not the real old-fashioned way where people make money producing some good product and it grows. Yeah, we get computers every damn year. And I'm sure some of you work in local government and realize, well, we need a new monitor this year. Okay, well, what do we get? Let's get a touch screen. Okay, yeah, an LED touchscreen. What size? Well, 24-inch. Well, I think we're due for it. We only have 19-inch LCDs right now. Let's get 24-inch touchscreens. This is what's been going on, and this is why people like Microsoft, Bill Gates, have succeeded over the years. Your tax dollars and our country borrowing money to finance their growth. These companies deserve to give back to this country and the American people. I say break up Google as a monopoly. Let's start with Google and make it more do no evil. Let's make it more available for everybody in America to get jobs at Google. Scale the jobs down to 36,000 a year from the existing 300,000 for one person and give more people jobs. Yeah, let's break up Google. Let's do a monopoly bust on Google, Carter. Carter fan agrees. I'm not offended by the word monkey. No. Yeah. I don't think we need to really retract our coding plans. I just think we should make it more available for more people to make money and less money at the highest level. I think we're really funding a very, very dangerous dead horse, which is being now controlled by the Pentagon, and they're using it for mining data and social engineering, which is not cool. I think we should bring back the Microsoft Windows operating system. And you're saying, well, what do you mean, Microsoft Windows operating system? Well, I think Microsoft should pay Xerox for their operating system. The history of the graphical interface can date back to Xerox engineers that Bill Gates borrowed information from. And this is a long-standing story that doesn't go very far, really. It's in the History of Technology Museum. But the history of the user interface, the GUI, graphical user interface, goes back to the early days. It was created originally by Xerox. You see that on the right? Eben Sutherland demonstrating Sketchpad. Name ring a bell? Yeah. Early Xerox interface. PRC. The user interface was developed by Xerox, PARC. Beep. All right, I think we've learned enough. Thank you. Too much information can crowd the brain. I suggest doing a good drink of tea once a day. Flush your brain out a little bit. Get some green tea and drink green tea once a day. Okay. Big news story tonight really was Manafort's son-in-law is going to take a plea deal. With Manafort's son-in-law taking a plea deal, Manafort might sing like a songbird. We're hoping that Manafort will flip on Trump and start spilling the real beans and telling people about what Trump really was up to during the early days when Manafort was his chairman and he was laundering money, allegedly, using shell corporations and real estate purchases to do it. This is when we'll get to the real criminality that Donald Trump has been engaged in. I do believe that Mueller is going to have to open up a case involving bribery, too. I don't think it's enough for Mueller to investigate the Russian payoffs of Manafort and Cohen and others. I think we have to look at bribery in the Trump administration, that Trump may be selling his cabinet positions. And that's my allegation. And it's a very concerning allegation because what it means is this guy's trying to profit from the presidency. Now, we do know one thing, that Betsy DeVos gave him $9.5 million in his campaign just to become Secretary of Education. It's a gross violation of a federal election law that she gave him that money. Here's the video description of the GUIs. Oh, cool. PBS. That'll be fun. Thanks. I'll add that to the lineup tonight and add it to Cool Tech. Excellent. The Situation Room, documentary, Dark Engine. Right, we saw this last night, MH370. I don't want to watch it. It's too parochial. It doesn't deal with the fact that they literally are making up a story about the pilot. They're really not even going to depth about the simple fact that the patent on board is now owned by the Rothschilds. Yeah, that's a serious allegation, and I believe that MH370 was hijacked. I'm fairly confident to say that the Wi-Fi connections to the navigation system were overtaken based on a logical understanding of the situation. Here we go. This is all I have to say. A new hashtag on Twitter. Break up Google. I like that. Hashtag break up Google. Windows 10 is actually pretty cool. Windows 10 they've definitely improved their operating system over the years. Yeah. I think Microsoft has good intentions. They're not all bad, but they profited a lot from government purchases all the way back to their beginning. And they really need to come clean about that. Same with Google and same with Facebook. I don't think Facebook has been punished enough for what Mark Zuckerberg, he didn't get any punishment at all for violating all kinds of laws of personal privacy. He got no punishment at all. And I think it's laughable that he wants to now offer a questionnaire to people to decide what they think about privacy. Stop the questionnaires, okay? Yeah, I would order Mark Zuckerberg to end all personal contact with any of his clients. You know, I don't know. Vaughn is breaking itself up. It seems like he's running less bandwidth, and the start of our show is almost like a nightmare every day now. And then for some reason it smooths out. That's a little suspicious. Every day we start the show, we have to go through a half hour of BS where people won't even see our show. And then finally it smooths out toward the end. That's a little weird, don't you think? Yeah, Mark Zuckerberg's wife is Asian. That's a good thing. She's a nice Asian woman, you know. I'm glad he found happiness in his life, but it's, you know, I encourage people to marry, or not even marry, just to be interracially involved. I think that's great. Did you know 1 out of 3 Trump supporters are just as stupid as the other 2? Did you know that? Yeah, the truth is out. The average IQ of most Trump supporters is slightly above mentally retarded. Yeah. They just don't understand. Trump is choosing a torturer to fill the role of Mr. Pompeo. Senate confirms Gina Haspel to lead the CIA despite torture concerns. And she promised she'd never do any torture. If Donald Trump says waterboard people, she's not going to do it. She promises. Yeah, like she promised not to do things back when she tortured people 85 times, waterboarding people to get information out, and then hid the evidence when she was in charge of a Thailand rendition operation. That woman never should have been approved. Our country and our Congress is comprised of a bunch of kiss-ass, mealy-mouth, completely manipulatable, worthless congressmen and women who let that woman who tortured people become the leader of the CIA. It's unbelievable. It's unconscionable that our government is going to be run by these crooks and these people who are just obvious horrors. Trump's warning to Kim Jong-un, make a deal or suffer same fate as Gaddafi. Here he's back to his old self again. Fire and fury, we're going to destroy you 1,000 times. See what I mean about this guy? He's all over the place. Foreign policy bipolar style. Welcome to Donald Trump, Mr. Manic Foreign Policy Bipolar Specialist. Up and down, no matter what you get confusion. No, I don't think the Earth is a sphere just from establishment information. Hardly. What you think is that the Earth is flat because you were fed that information on CIA-created flat Earth sites. You look at the origin of every flat Earth site you see out there, and you'll see most of them are run by the CIA or DOD. Go to the domain and WhoIsLookup and find the government sitting there. They create your flat Earth sites because they're that confident they can convince you you're an idiot. Oh yeah. Operation Shoot the Moon, and they try to basically take what really is credible moon hoax questions about whether we landed on the moon and turn it into the flat Earth theory. Another way of diluting down something and its importance by making it seem ridiculous. That's entirely what Alex Jones is, Mr. Controlled Opposition. Everything that I say on the show that I'm serious about, he runs his mouth off and says, says in a way that you would think he's a complete idiot. Like if I start talking about the dangers of the Bilderberg Group, which I have done in the past, and how they control operations for the Venetian royalty, he'll start talking about it the same day and say, "You're not going to believe what we found out about the Bilderberg Group and their connection to the Venetian royalty. These are the people that are trying to splice human beings with animals, turning us into hybrid animals and fed into the biosphere so that the cybernetic organisms can eat us." I mean, whatever. He just takes everything off the deep end. It's classic controlled opposition, where he turns every single story into some ridiculous, insane, oh my God kind of thing. Yeah, more human than human. And by the way, have you tried my enhancement vitamins? Yeah. They found out that his vitamin packets could be replicated for $10. What is he charging, 30? That's funny. Okay, check out the car of the future. Isn't that cool? And end war. All at the same time here at America's Third Party. We don't do Flat Earth here. Sorry. Yeah, this isn't Conspiracy Monday either. It's Technology Thursday. Since there's no science behind the Flat Earth theory, other than disputation, we can't really carry that. If you want to go see the curvature of the Earth, there are places you can stand on the shore of Lake Michigan and watch as the sailboats go over the edge. You can just pretend like you are listening to a Gordon Lightfoot song or something. Yeah, the fate of the Edmund Fitzgerald. You can watch boats go down the curvature of the Earth from a distance. We'll play that at the top of the hour. Thank you, everybody, for coming in. We got a little Gordon Lightfoot coming in. Haven't heard that in a long time. Yeah, Alex Jones talks about the issues we talk about, but without any solution. He doesn't discuss a third party. That alone is a very suspicious aspect of Alex Jones. He won't talk about a third party because he is controlled not to push you in either direction, but to make you confused. He did endorse Trump, though, which makes it pretty obvious that now he turned on Trump when Trump fired on Syria, but it doesn't really matter. They've just put him in play.
Imagine Irene
And Archie Bunker, and talking about Edith. Edith! Okay. The very first sitcom I ever watched really was All in the Family. There were sitcoms before All in the Family, but it was really one of the funniest ones, situation comedies that people watched in the early days. The first and last letters of David's name with the middle censor is a face. That's nice. Thanks. Yes, you can be special too. Parentheses make funny faces too. Yeah, All in the Family was a seriously funny show because it was based on tragedy. You're right. You know, tragedy and comedy are coexistent in our minds. Oftentimes people say really horrible things. Sometimes people laugh. I'm not going to give you an example of it, but it is pretty bad. And humor is a way of releasing our inner emotions. Sometimes we have to laugh because otherwise we'd be crying. Yeah, Roseanne lying with Trump is still not funny, I know. Wasn't she going to be the Green Party candidate, and then they rejected her, so she became her own Green Party candidate? Now she's a Trump supporter? I mean, how ironic is that? Trump doesn't believe that the Earth is having any environmental crisis whatsoever. He just thinks it's all fake news. I mean, the guy is so backward. If we have President Trump for another year or two, we're going to be losing ground on the chance to stop this environmental crisis. I'm actually hoping that he resigns and Mike Pence steps up. Because Mike Pence will fall all over himself. He won't last long. And he'll be picked apart in the media because he doesn't have the verbal combat skills that Donald Trump has. Mike Pence will be pretty much, fish food. Not that I want anything bad thing to happen to him, but at this point, I would rather have Pence as a president because I don't think he's going to spend his time tweeting. I know he'll be a puppet for the New World Order. I got that. But the tweeting that Donald does adds a concern that everything's unpredictable. And I don't think Mike Pence would do that. And I'm not saying I like Mike Pence, but he's definitely more smarter for sure. I'm not saying I like him. I'm just saying that, I think he'd be better than what we've got right now. And that's coming from a more liberal stance. I can't even imagine a person more off base. Did I mention that Trump is calling immigrants animals now? Yeah, that's kind of an ironic twist toward the end of the show here. Trump won't make it another year or two. The resignation letter will be coming shortly, I assure you. Once the reveal of the criminality that's been going on is made public, it's going to be just a question of time before he resigns. Thank you. Well, you have to laugh at everything, but don't hurt yourself. RFB exposed, and what the F is going on? Something fishy's going on? Okay, thank you. Richie from Boston's being exposed. Yeah, something weird is going on. Yeah. We know that Richie from Boston has been acting like a shill, even getting money. His Patreon account, he had $200,000 in it. It's like, what? He doesn't get that much interest on the internet, yet he's getting all this money. It just doesn't make any sense. Richie. All right, signing off, everybody. Thank you for Technology Thursday, and we've got lots of things coming up for the next 4 hours till 2 in the morning, watching video. Sandy Hook, game over. Okay, we're doing some downloads. On the down low. Okay, I bring you Gordon Lightfoot, everyone, after our recorded broadcast concludes. Thank you for coming in. Good night.